Sir Jeremy, you are a true friend of the crown. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. Madam Susan, you are an even truer friend of the crown. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. What is that?
This is a spiced honey mead wine that I have really been into lately. So, dilly dilly, right?
Please follow Sir Brad. He's going to give you a private tour of the Pit of Misery.
I'm sorry, what?
Pit of Misery, dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly.
I'm Bear Grylls, completely lost in a desert, and without water for 3 days. I have a decision to make. Drink my urine or this cold Bud Light I miraculously stumbled across. For me, the choice was simple. As horrible as it was still better than that god-awful beer.
To the Pit of Misery!
And so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe have to, they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night.
Huh? Please follow Brad to the Pit of Misery.
Dilly dilly. So, what'd I miss?
You're not gonna believe this shit. That is the dumbest thing that I
Oh, shut up, Doug.
Yeah, shut up, Doug. Dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly! Dilly dilly! What's up, everybody? All right, so I now know it has to do with the channels that I'm choosing. It really is only one channel. It really comes out as mono, really. But that's what it is. Let me back up. We got some stuff going on tonight. Yeah, well, I gotta like debug a couple of things here tonight because I'm playing. Arch likes to play with his toys and the techno babble shit, right? So hold on, let me back up. Gotta come back up to the top. And I said hello to everybody. Started the show off. TJ says good evening. I'm here. Brett says what's up. Robert Mello says better late than never. It's the Uncle Archie show. Shop top with Brett. Brett says you got it, Robert. With special guest Charlie the cat. Just kidding. Yeah, put Charlie on. Yeah. Robert says meow meow. Shop talk with Brett. Brett says Charlie made his first YouTube appearance today in Ken's live show. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Stand by. That was a good show. Robert says it's the show with no grease and summer breeze. I gotta sit down. I gotta get my amp together and start practicing a little bit. And I gotta make a summer grease tune, right? That's just got to happen. That is not going away. Robert says, cool to hear that Charlie is a YouTube star, meow, meow. Yeah, I asked him on Ken's show today. I said, how is the cat doing? Brett says he's kind of like the king of the roost now, but you can tell they know that something's not right. They miss their friend. He says, Brett says, yeah, we need a tube of seals and crofts. Yeah. Rob says, hello there, Nova John, Uncle Archie. Shop Talk with Brett says, hey, Uncle Arch. Ed said he may join us later if he can. Yes, that'd be great. Stop in, Ed. Bleach says, Bleach, is he a brand new unused grease gun I found in my garage today? That's awesome. Isn't that nice when you clean up, bro? I told you, cool stuff happens. Jungle Bob says, hello, Arch, hello. Bleach says, no sound. Uncle Mark's DIY. Fix a channel. Hey, all from Manitoba, Canada. Super warm. Y tier. So far here, it was 37.5. It should be -4. Yeah, it's warm everywhere. By the way, flood warning for the entire area in the Northeast, all the way up to Albany. So all the way from down here across a number of states, the temperature's changing a little bit, and we got a lot of rain coming. If this were snow, it would be a nor'easter for sure, but it's not going to be, and then the temperature's going to plummet. Get to that in a little bit. Should be sound. Uncle Mark says no. Uncle Mark says no. Really? Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. But Bob says no. Okay, we got that fixed up. Sound now. Yes. Bleach says yes. Blah, 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 blah. Nope, not here. Yeah, can you hear me now? Let's see. Brett says, I should try to come in on StreamYard. Found out earlier that they have an app for iPad and iPhone. Yes, you didn't know that? I don't run through StreamYard, though. We'll get to that in a minute. But I can do that, though. I can actually do that if I want. Sound check, burp. Now you hear it. We can hear it now. No audio, blah, blah, blah. Re-entered. All right, so let's back up. So yeah, I don't come through StreamYard. I'm actually coming. This right here. This screen right here is actually YouTube's screen, and what it really is. And I'll show you another look at it here. I'll show you another look at it. Invite. So this is actually what YouTube looks like. We'll transition to here. So this is the YouTube studio, and this is essentially, if you just go to your channel and click on stream, you can stream right from here. But you have to have something to connect to this, right? So you can connect, if you're on your phone, you can connect right to this. You can go through Zoom. I can actually connect Zoom to this and go through this. I can connect StreamYard. Kind of like StreamYard takes this over. Let me come back. So that's my console. I'll show you guys that a little bit later. So eventually, basically what happens is StreamYard takes over for the YouTube control page. And StreamYard, so I'm hosting the show right now, in a sense. So everything that you see going on that I put forward through all these different monitors and everything, this is all coming from my computer, from within the computer. And actually, I want to hook up my laptop because I want to do some graphics work and stuff, which I'll show you guys a little bit. And that would be fed into my ATEM switcher over here, this thing here. So this is a computer in itself as well. You can actually run an entire show from this box. Depending on which grade box you get, which level, you can actually simulcast. So you could simulcast to Facebook Live or whatever else, YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So I'm essentially hosting it right here, right? But really, YouTube is your host. Your host with the most, okay? When we say host, it's where is the bulk of the heavy lifting being done? And it's, for me, it's locally, right here at this computer and these different applications and this device over here that I've got. When you go to StreamYard, that's different. StreamYard is a hosting service. So what happens when you connect to if I were to connect to StreamYard, I would have all my stuff here, just like I would have it now, but I would put StreamYard would be in between me and YouTube. Right now, it's just me going to YouTube. StreamYard goes in between, and they are actually the host. So you could just use a phone, you could use whatever you want, same thing, you could zoom in. But StreamYard would be the place where all of the data from me is sent. It goes up to StreamYard and then out to YouTube and then out to the internet, right? And so when somebody texts or gets on a StreamYard, we'll call it a call because it's really more like a call. They actually are connecting to StreamYard through the app on their phone or the app on their computer. And a StreamYard is handling all of the file support, the incoming and outgoing traffic, and then just makes the connection back to me, and then back to StreamYard, and then out to YouTube, out to the internet, right? So that's actually kind of nice because if you don't have a very good computer, all you need is a relatively stable internet connection. I mean, you need a relatively stable internet connection. It doesn't have to be fast. So there's less load on the computer when you connect to StreamYard, but there's a huge delay. 4 seconds, something like that. It takes a while for it to really kind of, like even me, I have a delay. I have a slight lag. And every now and then I have to refresh it. So you don't need a really good internet connection. Now, some of the disadvantages, that's an advantage, by the way, but is a delay. So you wouldn't want to use StreamYard for gaming or anything like that because it would be too much of a delay and people watch gamers for the speed and everything. In fact, this box here, this device here is one of the kind of devices you would use for gaming because you would have an output coming from your video card and some of it would be going to your monitor so you can play, but that very low latency output would be coming directly into one of these boxes. A box like this, it would go into channel 1, and then your camera, like I have over here, looking over at the gamer or looking down at the lady's boobs, right? Because that's what those girls do when they game. That would be a lower latency. And this way, the person that's watching you game is going to see essentially you gaming in near real time. And they wouldn't see any weird lag. And then if the camera view, like usually people do like a picture-in-picture, if there was a camera view looking over here, right, it would all be in sync. But the camera of the person gaming, that could be a little laggy. That doesn't really matter. But the game would be tight and sweet. And you would never want to go through something like StreamYard for something like that because it would be a huge lag and a delay. And the other thing, too, is StreamYard, if you use the free version, it's like 720p, laggy, peepy. It's really soft and fuzzy. And you have to pay if you want a higher resolution. So I'm in a very high 1080p right here. So everything that you're seeing should be very clear. If it's not, I don't know why that would be, because I actually push the resolution up, and I push the bit rate up as high as YouTube will allow me. So actually a little bit more. Usually I get like a little warning or something talking about how, my bit rate's a little high. Let's see. Let me catch up. I had to throw the burp in there. Yeah. I got the broken light bulb out. Nice. How'd you get it out, bro? How'd you get that light bulb out? Robert says, I did a video on the second coat of clear coat and the headlight bezels. Sweet. We'll check that out later. The app is just for guests. Yeah, it really is. It really is for guests. But the thing is, though, that app is, even for the host, quote, the host, the person whose YouTube channel it is, they have to go to StreamYard. StreamYard takes over. And so, like, if I want to put up videos and stuff, if I get the free version, it'll be laggy, it'll be in 720p, it'll be real soft and fuzzy, and the sound will suck. Or I can rent the service. Now, I don't have enough money to do it. I don't have any money, so, I'm not doing that. But I was thinking, though, what I might do is, what I really wanted, I wanted to get Zippo up here at one point, but, he's not feeling well. I was so happy to hear from him. I haven't heard from him in a while. I think we heard from him last week. And, because I get worried. People get old and we have our health issues and stuff. But I was going to see if I could approach Zippo. So what I'd like to do is approach one or two people. And I don't want to do the Hollywood Squares. So I wanted to mention, by the way, and we'll get to that in a minute, I was hanging out in the background at Ken's show today. It was a really hot show. If you guys hadn't seen it yet, I think it's like 3 hours long. So go back to Ken Small Engine and check out his live show. I mean, generally they're pretty good, but this one was really good. And by the way, I got put in timeout. Okay, Brett missed it. Brett was actually on Ken's live show. I mean, actually on it. He wasn't in the background. He was actually on it. So congrats, Brett. I'm glad you went on there, and because you always have something interesting to say. Now, what did you say? You said something that was funny. You called it the color discourage, and I was laughing. It was pretty funny. I had a really good time. Let me catch up. I did a video on the second coat of clear. Yup, the app is just for guests. Robert says, congrats on getting the broke bulb out of the socket bleach. Johnny Bravo says he is. Cheers, you guys. Raising glass of beer, right? Dilly dilly! Dilly dilly! To the pit of misery. I love that. I get such a kick out of that. TJ says, very clear. Sound quality is very good. Thank you, TJ. And Brett says, yeah, with Charlie. Yup, he was there. That was a lot of fun. It was a good show. There was a lot of stuff going on in that show. So I think, Brett, you had just come back after they, banned me, which is really hysterical. So it wasn't they. It was that guy, Klaus, right? When the show started and I popped in there, I was in and out of the shop. I was pressure washing some stuff. I'll show you guys a little bit. So, it's usual Saturday. I'm in and out. I usually turn Ken's show on and leave it run in the background, and I come and sit down, take a break, have a smoke, get something to eat. It's usually like 2 hours. So, but it's at that part of the day where I'm still burning here. I've still got stuff to do. And he does his show a little earlier because there's people from Europe, the UK, and it was like I could tell right away. I had made a comment. I was going to say, wow, you guys are all full of piss and vinegar today, because I could tell they were all full of piss and vinegar. I was like, wow. I'm like, you guys are really lit up. Brett says, no, Brett says, yeah, yes, that went over well. And me saying I'm a grass bat instead of a grass bat. I know, Brett comes up with all of this crap. It's really funny. I get a kick out of it. I always wait for the gem that comes out sooner or later. Something's going to show. So they were full of piss and vinegar, and there was a lot of like debating and sort of, the hot topic stuff that I often talk about. Some people will say it's conspiracy stuff. The only problem with being conspiracy theory is what's the difference between conspiracy theory and reality? About 8 months. Because the past 3 years, not all of the conspiracy theories, but a lot of the conspiracy theories have come true. And it's crazy, because it's crazy shit that's going on in the world, which we're going to get to in a little bit. We're going to get to some of that, cover some of that in a little bit. So I could tell they were fired up. And that guy Klaus, Hobby Motor, he was fired up. And later on, I don't know if you caught it, Brett, but even Mick was saying, you've been drinking some of that. What was it, sauce? I forget what he called it. I haven't heard that term. Maybe it's a very European term. But Klaus was arguing with Mick at one point, and Mick was like, well, we're just going to have to call it here, and because, I guess you're not going to win on me on this one or whatever. But Klaus was going after Wayne, right? And I got to say, and it's not to beat anybody up, but just to fill people in a little bit, from my perspective point of view. Wayne is interesting. Wayne's an older fella. Shout out to Wayne and his son. And great channel over there at Eliminator Performance. So if you guys don't know about them, you got to check them out, Eliminator Performance. I'll try and drop a link. And I have another person, too, I want to drop a link. A fellow was on the show today, and I just got a chance to check out his channel a little bit. I subscribed, and I think maybe it was my subscribe that he got 60 subs now, I think. So I think it's a new channel, and we'll take a look at that. But I digress. Lot to cover, right? Lot to cover. So they're kind of going back at it, and I think in some of these somewhat controversial things, Wayne, where Wayne lives in Canada, and Wayne's an older fella, they really have a dude there that's running that country that really is. He even said it, that he admired the communist regime, right? The CCP, because if you're a leader in the CCP or in a communist country, you can just do when you want to go do something, you go do it. And that was basically what their leader was saying, that they admired that. So Wayne, I think, knows a lot more about stuff than he can let on, because in YouTube and being on Ken's show, it's not Wayne's show. It's not Wayne's world, right? It's Ken's show. So I think he can only say so much, because I mean, this is my opinion. I don't know, but from the stuff that he says, it seems to me that he knows an awful lot and he's holding back. And Klaus was disagreeing with him and trying to tell him stuff, and they were going back and forth. And at one point, later in the show, right around the time Brett sort of left to go do whatever Brett does, or did, they were really going at it. And Robert came in right around that time. Robert Malhas, he comes in, and they're going at it, and Hank is in the background, and Robert's and Hank is like this. All right, his eyes are starting to roll. And I start saying shit like, Robert, wake up. Somebody go pinch Robert. Wake him up, right? Oh, Hank's asleep. He's out cold, right? And then Ken is saying shit and egging me on. And then all the other fellas, a lot of the other fellas in the chat, they're going on and they're baiting me and I'm baiting them. And I'm like, I can type pretty fast, short sentences, right? I mean, that I can do. So I'm hitting stuff. I'm hitting, and it's going arch. And they're egging me, and I'm like, LOL. Oh, laugh my fucking ass off. OMG, because it was really funny, some of this shit. I mean, at one point, I think somebody said something about Hank needs to go pull one off or something, whatever. And Ken's in the back, and he's shaking the camera lens, right? And what's her name? The lawnmower lady, she's giggling, and it was really funny. But meanwhile, I guess that Klaus is the hall monitor. And at one point, he looks into the camera at me, and he goes, I'm warning you, Arch, right? I'm thinking to myself, what are you warning me for? And I'm like, who the fuck are you? We're having a good time here. There's like a whole nother show within a show, right? Because Klaus was so engaged with Wayne, he wasn't paying attention to the chat. He had no idea. We weren't really making fun of him. We were having like our own little thing. Like, I think we just stopped listening to them. And he's like, I'm warning you. I'm like, what? Next thing I know, I'm in timeout, right? He puts me in timeout. And then he said something to Ken and the other fellas. He's like, I had to put Arch in timeout. Like, you put me in timeout? Ken's like, what are you talking about? What'd you put him in timeout? He's like, oh, he's just spamming the chat window. Shame on him. I'm like, what are you, a hall monitor? I'm like laughing my ass off. So the chat window is going, which, by the way, right, in YouTube terms, when the chat window is hopping, right, if it's your show, you're going to get a rating, okay? YouTube loves chat activity. And as soon as he freaking banned me, it went like this. Like, people were like, what? You did what? You timed out who? It was so much fun. And then like Mick was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think you realize that there was like a whole nother show. He was just responding to stuff that was going. Mick was egging me on, right? He was part of it, right? Oh my God. It was just awesome. And it was some funny crap too. It was definitely stupid shit. Like, you know, just people having a good time, right? And people were egging at each other a little bit. So then after that, Klaus started on Mick. Oh man. Anyway, we were just having some fun. Let me back up. Congrats on getting the broke light bulb out. Cheers, you guys. Raising a glass of beer with Charlie. Yes, that went over. Yeah, that went over well. And me saying grass bat instead. Robert says I need help with getting an original Walbro carb for my Briggs & Stratton 20 horsepower Intech engine, and the model number is 31P77. Type O and E numbers of 20. I think you just need to get one for. I don't think it matters. I think you just need a 20 horsepower rated carburetor in either Walbro, but you can also just get an aftermarket. I mean, you know, one nice thing would be is, by the way, Robert's having an issue with his crappy carburetor on his riding lawnmower, right? So he's got one of those stupid, what do you call those when you call those carburetors again? I'm thinking about today because I'm like a little lost. He's got an issue with those crappy Nicky carburetors, right? And he just wants to replace the Nicky with like a real carburetor. I think you could probably even just go to go see if HIPAA has one. Go over to HIPA and let me see if I can find it real quick and just cruise. In fact, if one of you fellas wants to HIPA, I'll look for HIPAA store. Yeah, let's see. Here's HIPAA store. Just cruise. This is, I'll go to their homepage, HIPAAstore.com, and buy a cheapy $15 unit. Yeah, the Nicky 6. All right. And, you know, for $15, $20 you can play, and if it works great, you're done, right? Keep the original carburetor. Don't throw it out, obviously. Brett says, yeah, this was after I left. Left not long after Fiery Bruce left. Yeah. You missed the good stuff. It was fun. And that went on for a while, too. And then there was the kind of argument between the two of them. I think he just got all fired up. I don't know, for whatever reason. I think he was just in that yeah. I don't know what it is. It's interesting, too, because I always like to listen, and they were talking about, you know, climate change and saving the planet and the issues with the battery-operated stuff. And this goes back and forth and back and forth. And the one thing that I can say is when I listen to that stuff, I know where, like, some of the bull crap comes from. You know, the powers that be have been trying to tell us a load of shit for such a long time. And I typed it in a couple of times, but it never got, a lot of stuff does not get put up. Again, one of the reasons why I don't like doing the Hollywood Squares is because nobody actually reads the chat. And you could tell because this guy Klaus had absolutely no clue what was actually going on with the people that were watching the show. It was just all about him and this point he wanted to drive home to Wayne. And then it was all about him and the point he wanted to drive home to Mick. And the problem with that is I see that a lot on these sort of all-up Hollywood Squares shows. And that's the show, largely. I mean, that's how those shows go. When you have 5 or 10 or whatever people up there having these conversations and they're chatting them themselves, sometimes they don't read the chat window. And what tries to happen is every now and then you'll see somebody's name will come up with a comment, and then it'll disappear in a second. And then it's gone. I don't know why that is. I don't run that kind of show for that reason. I read through everything, and I try to catch it, and I will miss a thing every now and then, but I make a concerted effort. Those shows are all about the people that are up there. And what I feel is that the people that are watching, which are really the most fucking important people, I mean, why the hell are you doing it? I mean, you could just, if you just want to talk to the people that are up there, you could go gray and not broadcast it live and do a Zoom call with your friends. Sometimes I feel like when you're watching one of those shows, you're like the redheaded stepchild, right? Standing over here in the freaking corner. No offense to us redheaded stepchildren, but you're just like standing over there in the corner and like nobody's paying attention to you. I don't really like that. So that's another reason why I don't like doing those kinds of shows. And as I was trying to get to earlier, because when Arch goes on a tangent, why am I talking about myself in the third person? That's weird. Then again, I'm weird. What the hell was I saying? So when you do a show like that, you're kind of limited. And when Mick used to do the show, you know, Ken's more laid back and easygoing, and I think he does a great job on the show, not taking anything away from him. But Mick is a very strong-headed, dynamic personality. Mick walks into a room. One, he's big. He's a big guy, so everybody knows he's there. And he's got a big personality, and he knows how to command a room. He just does. And he's funny, and he just... So when he ran his show, he was on top of everything. And he didn't miss a beat. Well, is that the right way? I don't know. It's a way. Maybe it's a better way. I don't know. But if you're not like that kind of a person and you've got all these people, I mean, when you're hanging out in a room with a bunch of guys and a chick, things can get squirrely. And then you have all these people that are watching you and they're like trying to ask questions and trying to be part of the show. And what can happen is you get these personalities that are very forward and strong-minded. They just wind up, well, having these arguments back and forth, and everybody else in this, like, it's just like left hanging there. So we started fooling around, right? Oh, yeah, it was great. Brett says I said that at Ken's. I mostly did audio only on my end. Yeah, that's fine. And I thought it went over good, and you had some interesting stuff to say. It's hard to manage a show like that. It is hard. I don't want to do it. For that reason, one, I don't want to do it. I wouldn't want to do that many people up. I don't want to do it because I don't want to have to manage a show like that. That's a very different kind of show to manage. Sometimes it's easy because you could just sit back and they'll run your show. But then they're going to be running your show. And no, I'm not doing that, number one. Number two, they already do shows like this. A number of people do shows like this. In fact, most of the people I watch tend to do shows like Renegade does it, though. Renegade sits and you kind of have coffee with Renegade. I listen in. I don't usually comment on a lot of things, but I'll pop in. He does it Tuesday at this Renegade. He does it Tuesday, I think, and I think he does a Friday thing. I'm like, thank God it's Friday kind of thing for a little while. And well, what he does is he sits by himself, yes, but he stares at the chat and he watches the chat. And if you say something, he's going to read it, and he's going to read it out. He's going to respond to it. So that's how he runs his chat. Mater will do that. A lot of people would do that. Jungle will do that. Jungle Bob, he'll sit, and unless he's off on a tangent doing his thing, but generally he comes back around and he watches the chat, and he'll catch up, and like I do, and then he'll answer back. So I think I like, personally, it's not that I like or don't like this style. I like the style. Yeah, I think I just prefer to do it this way. And it's not that I don't like the all-up Hollywood Square style. I do like it because I watch them. But that's already being done, and I don't think I would be as good at it. I don't know as many of those people, to bring on. And my thinking was, well, why not just bring one on at a time and maybe do more of an interview? Because no one ever does that, right? I'd like to maybe send somebody an email, see if they want to come on, give them 10 questions and a wild card or two, right? Which you don't have to answer, okay? Because it'd be like the 10 questions, right? Be like, well, let's see, when were you born, right? How old are you? But things like, when did you first start doing YouTube? What do you think of YouTube? Do you make any money at it? Right? How do you make money at it? No, you're not supposed to ask questions like that. But you can ask questions like what's your favorite YouTuber besides yourself? What's your favorite and least favorite thing that you did on YouTube? Did you ever do something that you thought was horrible and you deleted it? Just like, and then that can lead to the wild cards, and then people can pick it up from there, and you do sort of this back and forth sort of interview thing. And of course, if you're talking to me, I'm a crazy idiot, so I'm going to be stupid and silly. But let's see. I mostly did audio only. Brett says they got a kick out of my solar light decapitation story with the snowblower. I kind of heard that in the background because I went outside to do some pressure washing because it was so nice out, and I had to clean some of these snowblowers. By the way, DJ, coming up in a little bit, right? Update on your snowblower. Got cleaned today. It's all nice and mint, and it's in here. And I have one just like it. I'm going to show you guys, except it's not just like it because it's not as good. I think we're going to use it for parts and throw it out, personally. But DJ's is nice. And I dug out another one that's kind of cool, and so we'll take a quick look at that in a little bit. Let's see. Robert says, next week, the live chat is going to be interesting because it's just before Christmas. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Uncle Mark, do I channel, fix a channel? There's a bit more intimate way of visiting with your viewers. Yeah, I think so. That's kind of my take on it, because you guys know what I do is I'll put stuff up. I'll do a movie. We're going to do a little bit of news in a minute. I want to put something up for some news. And then I like to go to some of these YouTube channels, and I want to take you to a couple of quickie YouTube channels. I think one or two guys that I like that are big. And one fellow, the fellow that I signed up for today on Mix, because he's only got 60. So he doesn't know I'm doing it. It's not to make fun or anything, fellas. It's just to go there. I already have his link in the description, and we'll just check him out real quick. And if you like him, subscribe, and watch some of his videos. I haven't had a chance yet, but I just kind of quickly browsed. That's another reason why I'm late, because I quickly browsed him. And then Cold War Motors just put out a video, and they're like 2 hours, right? So I only watched a little bit of it, and I got to go back, which I want to put Cold War Motors link in. If you guys haven't checked out Cold War, you should, because it's just cool. If you'd like, it's a weird channel. It's old cars and stuff, but it's weird. And the boys hang out and fool around. Let you guys know. Holy cow, it's been a really good day. I think I'm up to 9 subs now. Excellent. Excellent. So we've already been to Johnny Bravo, so we'll check him out again if you want. But it takes time to get seen, and that's another reason why. I mean, I look at people, and we talk to people that are bigger than me and smaller than me and the same size as me. To me, I don't care. But for the people that are kind of starting out or struggling, I like to take a look and see what's going on, if they want any help, if they have questions of us. Everybody knows something. I always feel it's like everybody's got some little secret thing that they got that they just come out with that's just brilliant. It's like the money shot, and you can learn from them and stuff. So I always have fun doing that. But yeah, so let's see, I covered all of that. So Brett was on, I covered that. I didn't have a chance to even make any show notes tonight because I was outside, and then I kept getting distracted because I'm outside doing my thing out there, and Ken's was still going, and it was hot. And I'm like, what's this argument about now over here? What's going on over here at Ken's? What is this argument going on? I mean, it wasn't like an argument, you know. It was like, you know, like a debate kind of, you know, my side, your side. We're not necessarily seeing eye to eye, but we agree on this and that. And it was nice. I like to think of them as a little bit of a heated debate, which is fun. You know, it was fun. It's definitely good. But one of the things I noticed, though, about Clouds is that he kept saying things like, there's too many people on the planet, right? Save the planet. There's too many people on the planet. You know where that comes from? That comes from people like Bill Gates, right? With all of his work. His father, who was also just like him, his father was one of the people that started, oh my God, I was just thinking of it a minute ago, with Margaret Sanger, right? These are the people that are involved in oh my God, I just forgot the term. They started Planned Parenthood back in the day with Margaret Sanger. And these are the people that are eugenicists. This is what the Nazis were into. In fact, Hitler got it from us because we were really deep into that in the turn of the century in the early 1900s, 1920s. And he's been quoted as it. He was actually written up Time Life magazine. He was a man of the year, okay? And he wrote about it. He said he got it from us because we you know, the United States, people like that were involved in this. So what they want, and what Bill has said, is that they want to shrink the population of the planet. And so they were talking about cow farts, and Wayne was talking about how that, you know, they're limiting the number of cows in New York City. They just put a limit. They're going to be counting meat consumption in New York City. Yep. And I know about all of this stuff because it's part of an agenda. It's part of a UN agenda, which goes back to the 90s and actually goes back further than that. But it was put to pen to paper in the 90s. And it's part of the United Nations agenda for the 21st century. So I know all of this stuff. And I'm laughing. And so part of this mantra that's been going around is there's too many people. And this, you got to level off the meat. You can't have so much meat. They're destroying the farms in the Netherlands. 30% of the food for Europe comes from the Netherlands, and they're going to get rid of it, right? And get rid of the cows. And it's because too many people. Well, really? Well, let's see. Let me just say this, okay, to that, all right? The two countries that have the largest populations in the billions is India, where they don't eat meat. They don't eat fucking cows. They're sacred. And in China, where it's mostly rice and fowl and stuff, because they don't have the kind of grazing land for beef. We send them beef. They cut it, process it, and send it back, right? In fact, we almost never get food from this country. They don't have a lot of cows over there. So this whole thing about there's too many people and cows are a problem, those are two separate things. If there are too many people, well, the bulk of the people on this planet and in the poorest countries, not just the largest populated countries, but in the poorer countries, they don't eat cow. So how does that even correlate? Just let that mull around in your head, right? They don't want you to have it because they don't want you to have it. And meanwhile, Bill Gates owns the largest fucking acreage of farmland in the United States. And what is he doing? Is he planting trees? No. He says, I don't want to plant trees, right, to clean the air and reduce the carbon and sequester carbon into the ground. I want carbon taxes, which I can afford, but you can't. So I'm going to tax your ass, you little plebs. And would he be planting, you know, food crops and stuff to compensate? No, he wouldn't be doing that. He's putting up all over, not even in this country, but in Canada, right, and in Europe, he's putting up bug farms. And it's already in your food. Yep, cricket shit, right? They grind them up. It's cricket protein. And it's already, check your package labels, okay? You're going to find cricket protein in there. They want you eating fucking bugs. Anyway. Oh, David, is that my brother? Yeah. Hey, John, just figure this out. Eugenics, that's what I just said. Yeah, that's my brother, David, there. Welcome to the channel, David. Yeah, you missed some of the crazy stuff in the beginning. No, let me catch up. I'm kind of like reading Spot. Yeah, I kind of missed the solar thing, Brett, with the snowblower. Next week, the live chat is going to be interesting because it's just before Christmas. Yep. Uncle Mark says, this is a bit more into way of visiting with the viewers. Johnny Burrow says, holy cow, it's been a really good day. I think about the 9 subs. Brett says, I didn't mention my channel today. I did. they didn't put it up. I wrote it. Like I said, I wrote it in. By the way, guys, Brett has his own YouTube channel. Do you think that they talked about it? Do you think they read it? Do you think they popped it up? Nope. Because they don't pay attention, and that stupid text pop-up window, I don't know how it works, but it's like they selectively, it seems like people selectively bring one up, and it could stay up there for a while. It could come up and disappear in a second. I don't like that system. I'm trying to work out a system to where I can bring chats up from my second computer, my little laptop, and bring it in. That's some of the things I've been doing lately. But I mentioned it. But like I said, it's like so much stuff just gets ignored. And then, let's see, didn't mention my channel. And David says, hey, John, just figured this out. Eugenics, thanks. Be right back. Beverage. So here's one of the things I've been working with. I'm getting ready for the next segment. Not to beat a dead horse, right? Let's see, where am I? Let's see if it comes on. Yeah, it should come on. So I've been working with stuff like this. So I've got a couple of things. Let me just check this out. Yeah, there it is. This is a nice little piece of graphic. So this graphic is interesting. I built this from essentially basic text windows. And there's a number of things I can do with stuff like this. So tonight's agenda, we're going to talk about retail closures. I'm going to show you guys a YouTube channel that I like to check out. We'll give this guy some credit as well. He's the Economic Ninja, and he's pretty popular, very popular. The only thing I don't like about some of these channels, and to be fair, is they work very hard on their channels, and it's factual. What you're going to see is factual. But sometimes they get a little too doom and gloomy, and they don't often talk about solutions. Now, this fellow does, right? He is interested in investing. He's interested in the ways of financing things. He was big into real estate. He made a good bit of money on the side when real estate was a thing to work on, right, and invest in. It's not now, unless maybe you own rental property. But he talks about stuff like that, too. But some of these people do get a little too, not so much conspiracy, but I find like sometimes it's a bit too doom and gloom. I mean, I like to know what's going on, but I also want to find ways of, getting around it. And one of the things I like to try to teach my daughter is you want to know what's going on in the world because it's going to affect you whether you realize it or not. And it's kind of like knowing where all the potholes are after a big storm, right? So if you kind of know where the potholes are, you could drive around them and you can avoid the accidents if you have a heads up of a road closure or stuff like that. And you wind up saving yourself a lot of time and a lot of frustration. So we're going to go through that real quick. I think it's a short, like 6-7 minutes. We can talk a little about that. Then we're going to do a tour through 1970s Bleecker Street. 1970s, right? So you can check out the cars and the way people dress. This is Bleecker Street down here in New York. A snapshot of the 70s. I'm going to do a little walk through time. And I'm going to do a little bit of weekly updates and a bit of an open forum a little bit after that. So the weekly updates are just the stuff that Arch is always up to. Some crap I'm working on, which includes TJ's snowblower. Thanks, TJ. TJ dropped off his snowblower here. It's a two-smoker. It's an older Craftsman two-smoker, which seems to be in really, really good shape now that I got it all cleaned off, by the way. So we should be able to get that running this week. And I'll show you guys a little bit about that. Something else that I found, Toro 4-stroke paddle blower, and we'll spray a little starting fluid in that and see if that runs tonight, and a couple of little things, and then hang out. We're going to check out some YouTube channels and see what you fellas are up to. So let's get started. Let me get to the next segment. Where am I? Let's see. Am I? The Pit of Misery. Let's see. Where do I want to go? Oh, I want to go here. I want to go to this thing. Yeah, let's come over here. We'll go to the channel, the third video input.
In the past 2 years, we have seen two economic anomalies that we have not seen in a long, long time. And they both had the total opposite effect, fighting each other at the same time. One, which was out of control, unprecedented panic buying of goods and services due to an extreme situation where the world was locked down, told to stay in their homes, and here's a little bit of money while you're there, causing things like lumber, housing, everyday services like construction to absolutely explode in price. On the other side, you had companies that were hurting so bad financially that they had to start closing stores. They could not deal with the sheer amount of revenue loss in their company due to no buyers coming into the store. Some companies like e-commerce absolutely flourished, but on the heels of what just happened with Home Depot, proving that the American consumer is tapped out, and Home Depot hitting the brakes, citing that 3 years of robust sales runs to an end amid a pullback on home improvements, you have to wonder what companies are next. Below, I'm going to cite 15 companies that have been literally not only laying off people, but closing their stores. And pretty soon, most of these you will see in the next year or two will be gone forever. These are big box retailers that you have grown to enjoy and depend on for your everyday goods and services that are no longer going to be servicing your local town because of store closures. So let's start with number one, Burger King. You remember Burger King for that famous weird looking king running around with a hamburger in his hand? And all of these crazy Whopper ads. Well, no longer are you going to see Burger King in 400 locations as they shutter 400 stores this year alone.
That's
Number
huge.
Two, Banana Republic. Banana Republic has had a drastic drop in sales and are closing over 130 stores this year. Stop and Shop. 5 locations have closed since January due to sluggish sales. How many more are going to be closed from here on out? Number 4, GameStop. GameStop, the world's largest gaming retail store, has closed 462 locations this year and is estimating 783 locations over the next 2 years alone. Kroger, a huge retailer of groceries, is getting rid of hundreds of locations due to losing money for a sustained period of time. The question is, if Kroger goes in some cities, where are those cities going to source their groceries from? Number 6, Goodwill. 18 stores closed in the second quarter alone due to lower profits and less foot traffic. Number 7, Fossil. Fossil has closed 75 stores this year. They have lost $100 million in revenue, and they are planning on closing 20% of their entire fleet of stores nationwide. Number 8, Guess. 100 stores, or 9% of its entire network, will be closed down this year alone. Number 9, Macy's. Closed 125 of its stores already prior to this year. In the last 2 years alone, they've closed that many due to decreased foot traffic and increased rent expenses. Now, 45 more are slated to close this year. Number 10, McDonald's, closing 100 stores in 2023. McDonald's is also known as already starting to slash its corporate officers and corporate employees, along with their corporate offices they're closing just to save money and make ends meet. McDonald's president warned that they may need to close 1,000 stores after California passed the FAST bill, which forces McDonald's to pay much, much higher wages, equaling $22 an hour to start, with an increase of 3.5% each year afterwards. McDonald's president has said they just cannot simply deal with the added costs of employees. So they are forced right now to do two things: automate everything they do so there are less people working, which means less jobs, and also close stores. Number 11, Urban Outfitters. 70 stores will be gone by the third quarter. Target is starting to already talk about closing locations around the nation that have been underperforming. Target has also been the target of slower foot traffic and harder to sell certain items due to they're no longer necessities and the consumer does not have money for them. The consumer is needing their grocery unit, whereas all of the rest of the stuff that's carried in their stores are no longer a priority for the average consumer. Target is feeling the pain right now and is already starting to work on shuttering stores around the nation. Number 13, Office Depot. They are closing 80 more stores this year. They have been suffering since 2018 as most consumers have decided to buy their office supplies online. Number 14, Foot Locker. 400 stores plus 125 of their Champ sports stores will be closed this year. Bath & Body Works. Bath & Body Works is closing 50 stores and possibly looking at closing every single store located in a mall across the country. Again, less foot traffic and people buying their items online.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, one of the things I want to get back to, you missed it. You missed the good part, Brett. So one of the things I want to just finish off with is I'm going to introduce you to people, somebody that you may or may not know, which is Yuval Noah Harari. And so one of those in McDonald's, they're turning towards automation because California had just raised, the salary rate so high with these. They passed these laws. It's just that whole state should just be shoved into the ocean at this point. It's such a mess over there. And of course, the effect is that McDonald's, or even if Burger King is operating there, or a lot of these stores, they're not going to be able to afford to pay people. And some of these food stores, these fast food stores are, particularly here on the island, they're a huge employment opportunity, particularly for immigrants, because they don't have any training in anything. They come here from where they're being shipped in. Literally now we're up to like a few million. And they're being shipped all over the place, bussed and flown. And they don't have any real skills because from where they come from, that's a problem. There's not a lot to do. So with automation, it's just going to cut a lot of people out of an opportunity for a job, or forget about even being like a high school kid or trying to work your way through college or something and trying to find a job, a low-skilled job or whatever that you could just do until you complete your course training or whatever, your college education or whatever it is. I took a lot of different BOCES courses and things, so I left high school with a lot of skills, and then I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And so while you may be in training, you might need some kind of crap job to get you through. No, they're trying to turn these things into careers. And of course, the companies that, essentially run these jobs, right, own these jobs, they're like, no, that's not what the idea is here. We can't run our company like this. So whether it's any kind of box store or retail store, that's the kind of employment you're talking about. There might be one manager to 20 people. And so when you remove the people, you don't even really need a manager at that point. You're going to go to automation. So that's why I want to bring us to, before I close out this segment, is to really what the plan is. Okay. And let me come back to David says, producing and just consume. Well, kind of. Yeah, consumption is really the key, but they want you to consume only the things that they want you to consume. So the tagline out of the WEF is that you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. So you'll rent everything. And again, this is out of the UN as well. Robert says, where is Christina? Track the young lady. I don't know. She's actually at home, so I'm not sure what she's doing. So a quick web search, and I'm going to take you over to the right monitor, and I'll find something here. I should be able to find something, and let me introduce you to Noah Harari. So it's Yuval Noah Harari, and let's see what he says. Let's see if I can find the video. I should be able to find something. So what I'm looking for is a conversation on the future of people, right? Like what, useless eaters, okay? Yeah. Well, technology isn't going to make us immortal, but let's see if I can find it. The future of humanity. I saw one the other day, and I was going to save it, and I just got busy, and I forgot. I don't think I did save it. Let me just see if I did. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, here we go. So AI essentially will create a useless class of humans. And he's going to explain to you why that is, if I can find AI in the future of humanity.
Stuart, did you know that right now...
Let's see.
AI will probably change the very meaning of the ecological system. Because for 4 billion years, the ecological system of planet Earth contained only organic life forms. And now, or soon, we might see the emergence of the first inorganic life forms after 4 billion years, or at the very least, the emergence of inorganic agents. Now, people have feared AI since the very beginning of the computer age in the middle of the 20th century. And this fear has inspired many science fiction classics.
So he's talking about the emergence of, essentially, of AI. And what is AI going to do?
Become cultural landmarks. They haven't usually been taken seriously in academic and scientific...
Let me see if I can move forward a little bit.
There is no evidence that these tools have even a shred of consciousness, feelings, emotions.
Yeah, they don't.
Navigating the physical world despite the hype around self-driving vehicles, the date at which these vehicles will dominate our roads keeps being postponed. However, the bad news is that to threaten the survival of human civilization, AI doesn't really need consciousness, and it doesn't need the ability to move around the physical world.
No, it just moves. Let me go forward.
Bank, and also to inspire heavenly visions in our minds. Another way to think of it is that AI has just hacked the operating system of human civilization. The operating system of every human history has always been language. In the beginning, was dewdrops as some kind of new scriptures, as a sacred text.
Trying to get to the point where this isn't the one I want.
Not create a new book. It's always done by a human. AI is fundamentally different from printing presses, from radios, from every previous invention in history, because it can create completely new ideas.
So what he's saying is this AI can create completely like a human being can. And what he was saying in one of the other videos, he talks about how AI can create poetry, and it can make movies, and it can do all of these things. And when you enter into the point where AI crosses over, essentially, once there's an automated robotic system that's driven by AI, he says it at some point that you will not need humans. Now, let me see if I can just find a better video, because that one's too long. It goes on a little bit too long. This is the spokesperson, essentially, for the World Economic Forum, sadly. Yeah, and I don't know where the hell it is. I should have saved the one because I was looking for it last night and it got too late. And it was much shorter. Yeah, I don't know if I can find it, but it will create what he's saying, let me come back, is that's the fellow. And he is essentially the spokesperson for the World Economic Forum. Very close with Klaus Schwab and the rest of them in their blue rooms. And what they're shooting for is essentially for AI to take over all of the tasks of human beings. And he says it will create a class of useless people. If depending upon what now some of us are getting older and some of us are even retired. But think of your children and your children's children, your grandchildren. Certainly by the time I have grandchildren, this will be the case because they want control over everything. And it's very difficult to get control over people. But it is easier to get control over a machine because you can program it and limit it with stops. You know, how far it can go, how much it can think, how much it can do. You can put stops on it. You can put an off switch on it, which you can't do with a human being. With this many people, particularly coming into this country that are not skilled, you know, I think the government's hope is that they can put these people on some type of welfare, you know, state fare. It's socialism. Right now, our tax money is paying, well, partly our tax money is, or I should say largely, but it's paying these people that are coming across the border. Most of them are getting $2,000 a month of universal basic income. You're not. If you would, even if for me, if I've tried to go to Social Security disability and they won't give it to me, they told me maybe if I have liver cancer. They said, when you lose everything, come back. But these people will get $2,000 a month. And right now, your tax dollars, and not just your tax dollars, because the money that the government is spending, making it up out of thin air. They're not taking it from us so much as it is they're printing it. They're giving to the Ukraine, which is paying for benefits over there. Not just weapons, but it's paying people's pensions. You're not getting that. We're not getting that. I'm not getting that. And so what they're trying to create is a class of people that are so undertrained. Even Biden said it, that the kind of jobs that will be available in the near future in this country are going to be biomedical and technology related. What they want to create, and Yuval Harari talks about this is one of their dreams, is transhumanism. And that's what a lot of this was. Okay, it was a test. One, it was a test to see what people will do. It was a test of the government facilities. But this whole transhuman thing is also tied to this other trans thing that's going on. Because if you can get people to cut things off their bodies and modify who they are and take away their personalities and control them and hitch them up to the, quote, biomedical or pharmaceutical medical system for life, okay, well, then you effectively have the first stages of transhumanism. If you can inject mRNA into somebody's body and it changes their DNA, you have a hybrid, a chimera, effectively making them transhuman, even at the base level. So with everything, all technologies, there are baby steps. There are the first steps that are required to take. And when dealing with human beings, the largest test that we just went through was literally to see how much the human population of the planet will endure and take and deal with and accept. And that is the direction that they're moving, and particularly this country. Now, the other argument I heard at Ken's was this whole thing about coal-fired plants and why is this still going on if we're trying to save the planet? First of all, nobody's trying to save the planet. That's a myth. That's another one of these urban myths. Why is that? Well, why is China keep making coal plants? Why it is because China has industry, something that we gave them, that we allowed them to take away from this country. We literally gave it to them. They have the industry. When you have industry, you must have central station power because industry uses a tremendous amount of power. You're not going to be able to smelt metal and silicone to make chips and to make hardware and to make lawnmowers and to make the crap you buy on Amazon without central station power. You cannot do it on solar or wind, right? That's a myth. It doesn't make enough energy to do that. So all through Western Europe and the United States, particularly Western Europe, places like Germany, where they're shutting down nuclear power plants, which are clean. I mean, we can argue over, the byproducts, but they are clean. They don't emit any carbon. And they're shutting down coal, and they're shutting down natural gas plants, which is really very clean, because they're moving the industry also from Europe to other places like India and other places. And we know, the South America. So China is essentially the manufacturing hub of the world. What used to be a gift that we got essentially from World War II, which helped many of us go to college and earn a good living and have a wealthy society. And that is something that Klaus did mention, that one of the problems that Canada and the United States has is that we're wealthy, like many nations. We do live, in a sense, in a wealthy way. What the World Economic Forum has said is that it's the end of abundance. It's the end of the old world. This is the Great Reset. We're not going back, as Klaus says, to the ways of the old ways. It's not going to be like as it used to be. And so what that means for us and for our children, our children's children, is literally eating bugs. And it's just disgusting. Their plan is to create a subclass of human beings that have to be tied to the state because they will not have skills. They will not be allowed to have skills. They're not going to be able to get those skills. And if you don't happen to fit into the basic categories of being a teacher or a cop or a fireman or maybe an engineer, particularly a biomedical engineer, right? Because you don't need to be any other kind of engineer, because what are you going to build? Maybe a civil service engineer to fix the roads and stuff and repair some of the bridges that they like to just let rot. You're not going to be in manufacturing, because that's just not going to exist. It barely exists now. And Amazon, for roughly 500 days of the CVID years, right? That was about 500 days. There was a billionaire created for every day. Every day. That's how much money was transferred out of particularly the American economy. That would be people like you and I. And we've often talked about, and Bria's talked about all the closures in MTD and Husqvarna. Husqvarna is collapsing because it's a European company that's towing the WEF line. So they're collapsing the companies that make machines here in the United States so that they can make $4,000 to $10,000 robotic lawnmowers for the wealthy. Because I ain't going to buy one of those things. I sell lawnmowers for $200 and less to people that are very happy to have the beautiful machines that I'm selling them. They're not buying one of those things, especially not here in New York, because it's just too effing expensive between the taxes and everything else. And if you think, well, box stores will close and there'll be new stores coming up, that's not possible, because another way that they strip the wealth of a country and stop you from owning things is they raise the interest rate of loans. And they're going to tie it to your social credit score, just like they do in China. So if you say what I'm saying and they don't like it, they'll reduce your credit score. You won't get a loan. You won't get to eat your meat because you didn't have it. You can't have any pudding because you didn't eat your meat. Literally, like, this is what they're looking for. So if I were to go out and say I want to expand, it would be difficult for me to get a loan these days. Not to mention, how would I pay for it? How will I pay for a $500,000 or $1 million home with these ridiculously high interest rates? What job on Long Island with two people working can pay a mortgage of $4,000 a month, a car loan for $60,000? GM just announced that they're going to be raising their cars costs by 50%. They're already ridiculously high. Nobody's buying electric vehicles. I showed you guys that last week, right? Sitting. Even a $7,000 Ford pickup truck, they couldn't give it away. Nobody wanted it. They can't afford it. They don't want it. They don't trust it. That's the only leverage we have, is to understand what's happening and refuse it and let it sit and let the company collapse. The problem is if GM and Ford collapses, what will come in is a Chinese company. What will come in, because of the WEF and this woke nonsense, a company that toes the line of the Europeans will come in. And that's even worse, right? It won't be an American company because there are no American companies, because most of these companies are multinational, and if they don't toe the WEF line, and I've talked about this many times, and if they don't toe that line, they can't get interim loans. They can't get additional loans to put into their business. Bridge loans, they're known as. They can't get loans for expansion. And how are you going to expand? The other way you destroy a country, too, is you spend so much money that you devalue the dollar. Now, I remember when my father went through this in the 70s, late 70s, mid to late 70s, and we had hyperinflation. This is going to be like Weimar Germany before World War II, when you could take a wheelbarrow full of freaking dollars to buy a loaf of bread, and you might need a second wheelbarrow because literally, while you were online to buy that loaf of bread changed its cost and it went up. And you needed even more worthless money. So I just wanted to cover that. But there, like I said, there are ways around it. If you know what's happening, and you can say, oh, I don't believe you, go do your own homework. All right, spend the time that I spend in this chair and doing other things all my life, reading these books and reading this stuff and being ahead of it. And even when I was ahead of it, I remember trying to explain this to my ex-wife. For years, she wouldn't believe me because I remember a bunch of years ago in 2008, she tried to get us into hot water then, and I said no, and I put my foot down. And we lost friends that had to leave because they lost their homes. And I warned her of that. But she wouldn't believe me because everybody that she knows is reciting the same mantras, some of the mantras I heard today on the channel. You know, and I remember hearing some stuff, and this isn't to beat anybody up. I remember hearing some stuff. I had played a while back a video from, this is the, in Europe, essentially, they have these parliamentary meetings and stuff. You know, because essentially they're all grouped together, right, under one banner. And they had a meeting recently, sometime around the beginning of the year. And they're all in this European Union Parliament building. And they're going on about how white people have destroyed the world because of white people. They're all white because of white people. We've taken and pillaged and all of this nonsense, and we've created all this stuff, and it's now time for us to pay. And what their plan was for Europe was to deindustrialize Europe and take them back like 100 years. And they're going on about this in the European Parliament. And they turn and they look when the speakers finish, and they're going on about this white guilt, white supremacy, and all this other nonsense. And then when they get done with their presentation, everybody in the whole huge auditorium was packed. They all clap, and they're all white. And what they're saying is we're coming after all of the Western countries, and we're going to deindustrialize them and send them backwards. They have a name for it. I don't remember the name. And they're all clapping, and they're all white. Because those people there, either they've been promised something to do this, or they think they're going to get away with it, or they have this weird guilt thing. Probably a little bit of all of the above. It's bizarre, okay? And this, I played it for you. I actually played the tape of it. It's out there. I'll have to find it again. That's how bizarre, like we're just regular people, so we don't think like this. And so it's hard for us to digest this shit when somebody like me or somebody else talks about it. It's all in the news. It's just not in the news that you watch in daytime and nighttime television. It's not in any of the mainstream news. So it is what it is. I want to get to the next segment. I want to catch up with you guys. And bye. Yeah, I don't want to stay on that too long because it's sad. Let's see. Zippo's here. I see Brett had a chaw. Yeah, my brother says producing just to consume. Yeah, well, they're going to try to do that to some degree for a little while. I don't know. Christine, I don't know. I told her I was doing a live tonight. I'm saying nothing pisses me off on places like Walmart and Kroger doing away with the cashiers and using self-checkout areas. Yeah, because that's exactly what they want. And that's what AI is really good at. And kiosks and automation and stuff like that. Remember the automats, right? My mother used to tell me about stuff like that. This is nothing new. But, you know, when my mother was a kid, I mean, geez, when I was born, there was 150, roughly 150, I want to say 150 million people in this country. And during the time of the Apollo missions, right, throughout, what was it? I don't forget how many years. It was about 400,000 people employed from some time span of A to B, whatever that time span was. Right, because it started with Mercury, and I think it was Mercury was before that. What was before Mercury? I forget. But there was that's a lot, and those were high-paying jobs, you know, because I worked at Grumman, so, you know, I know what some of those jobs were like. I met people that worked in the Apollo missions. I met people that were in the bunkers in Florida, right, you know, during launches and shit. There was some great stories, man. Those are really cool. Zibbo says, cheers all. Robert says, I miss Kmart, Sears. Thank you, Eddie Lambert. Yeah, well, Eddie Lambert, the guys that crushed Sears, that was all part of the era of pump and dump. And these are the Wall Street assholes that are running the world, right? This is what they do. He pumped and dumped and destroyed Sears so that a handful of people at the top could make a lot of money. This is the mentality of these people. So I mean, I can't get behind them, right? They're just so corrupt. Zippo says, hey, Brett. Everybody is Zippo. Be right back. Pup wants outdoors. AI is scary shit. It is a little scary. It is. I've used it. I've played around with it. Like, I'm all for technology. I'm as you can see, right? I like technology. So I'm into the battery operated stuff and the AI. I think it's all very good. But when it lays just in the hands of the creeps that are running everything in the direction that they're telling us that they're going to run it, and even the king, you know, the king of England over there, he was the first one that came out and announced the Great Reset. So they're all in on this. You know, it's they're like the death cult. You know, they're the predator class, and predators eat things. Like, they hunt and eat. That's what they do. And that's what these people do. And the way to stop it is to kind of figure it out. And a lot of people are really waking up to it. Like, I sell lawnmowers to people all the time. In fact, I just sold a couple last week. It's like the seventh I'm selling lawnmowers. And they're telling me about this stuff. I'm just meeting these people for the first time, and they know a lot. And so a lot of what I'm saying to, like, just like my general customers, which are the salt of the earth, some of the coolest people I meet, selling lawnmowers, I become friends with a lot of them. We share, you know, exchange phone numbers and stuff, and I tell them if you ever need anything. They're telling me, like, they know a lot about what's going on. So if I say something like this to them, they're like, well, that makes sense. It's crazy. David says, AI, nothing more than an extension of man's intelligence and collecting programming. You can always pull the plug. Kind of, right? You can kind of pull the plug if we're not in control. Like, you and I cannot pull the plug on the internet, but you can pull the plug on your phone and your computer, and you can figure out a way to live without it. However, it's getting to the point where you can't, because the idea, one of the ways that they want to track us, this carbon track and tracing, that's how they're going to tax everything we do. And that's already being done in places in Europe. They want to connect your phone to everything. That is going to be your ID. It won't even be a license ID to drive a car anymore. You won't even need that. That was part of what the CVID stuff was for, was to create a CVID pass. I can't say the word, so read into it. Was to create a pass. And that was one of the ways they tried to get it done, except if things got out of hand too quick for them, they're going to find another way, and they're going to tie your banking to it too, because they are literally crashing the dollar. So they have, the Fed coin came out in June or July, which is a digital coin that they want to go to. It's just everything is fake money anyway, but they want to get rid of paper money. And there's a lot of opposition to that for damn good reason, because you will lose what's left of your sovereignty if they get rid of the paper coin. And people, for convenience, they'll give up everything. A lot of people are very convenience oriented, especially the young, because they sit on these apps and they just transfer money around. It means nothing to them. And that's what they're kind of hoping for, is they're baiting and training a lot of the youth coming up through this. And if we don't, get a hold of some of these kids and tell them, You don't want anything like that. I have even customers that they want to use cash apps and stuff. I'm like, no. No. Sorry. Why? Because you don't feel like going. And the banks are actually removing a lot of their cash machines. Some bank policies right now, when you go to a bank, you can't bring them coins. Either it has to be rolled. They will not give you change. It has to be rolled. You better roll it. My bank over here still has a machine you can dump your stuff into. A lot of them don't even want that. They want to get rid of it. They're getting rid of a lot of cash machines all over the place. There are stores that will not take cash, like restaurants and stuff. If you go to a store and it refuses to take your cash, walk the hell out. You don't need them. You might as well just go to Amazon at that point and save yourself the whole rest of it. And tell them why you're leaving. Because it's a bad practice. And for these conveniences, people are buying into this sick world order, is really what it is. Let's see Zippo's back. I own 3 acres and a beautiful 157-year-old brick farmhouse that cost me less than a fully loaded crew cab. Yeah, GMC Denali. Yeah, bro. This is what I mean. So it's getting so bad that, it's going to be really hard to find anything like that. Like, I've talked about this with my ex-wife. I'm like, we really need to try to keep the house because there's no way my daughter's going to be able to afford to buy a house. How is that even going to happen? Like, these things are like $500,000 now. It's a piece of shit for that kind of money. Okay, it needs a ton of work. And not only does it need work, right, but here's the other thing, the pressure that they're putting on. This is just a piece of personal information, right? So my house needs siding. It really needs windows, but it doesn't need all of them, but it needs siding. And I can't afford it, right? I had a lot of hits all at once. They canceled my homeowner's insurance. And I went to another homeowner's insurance company. They canceled that one. I went to another one. They canceled that one. They sent people out from upstate to take a look at the house. And he went around the property and he made all of these, like, they're not violations, but they're whatever you would call them. And the insurance company said, well, either you go and you reside your house right now or we're dropping you. Well, I had to remortgage my house. And they're still giving me a hard time because that mortgage company, they gave me an okay deal, but now I have a mortgage again, which is ridiculous. And they did pick up an insurance company, but I'm paying a premium for it. And they keep trying to cancel me, even still. I'm like, well, then I don't know what to tell you. See, the thing is you can lose your home for failure to pay insurance. I don't know if you know that, right? It's very hard because I own a large piece of the house. In other words, I don't have a very high outstanding balance. They're having a hard time with me. On one hand, they want me to fail because, well, they win. Okay, they win. Because, I'm just shy of paying off the house, right? So they win. If I owe less than a car payment, really, for the cost of a car. If I fail now, they win. But because I've paid off most of it, they don't have the equity, right? So they don't have the grab over me. Unbelievable. It really is. David says, in China, they call their World Wide Web Skynet. Yeah, Terminator series, malevolent computer system control the world. Isn't that bizarre? Yeah. Voyager, yeah. Everybody wants to rule the world. That was a great song. It said, Ken Small Energy, Mr. Mullen, Klaus, the hall monitor. I love it. Ken's here. That was a great show, Ken. It was like, I'm like, what are you, the effing hall monitor, right? It was a really good show. We weren't even really paying attention, and Ken was egging me on, right, for other stuff he was doing. That shaking of the camera was hysterical. I literally was like, I couldn't breathe. My face was hurting, and I think I even typed that in. And Hank is like, and Rob is like, Robert's like, I don't really, I kind of know what they were talking about. I wasn't like agreeing or disagreeing with it. I was just like, it was just so funny because this is the show within the show, which is a good thing. And Ken, let me tell you, if your chat window is buzzing like that, that's huge for the ratings with YouTube. It's got to help, bro. Because activity in the chat, especially if there's like a flurry and a frenzy, that's like awesome. That's what you really want, like a show within a show, really, because you want your peeps kind of hanging out and talking to each other and doing their thing. And then, they kind of like leave you out of it, and they got their own thing going on. That's good. It's like it's the brew in the pot, right? Hanging and chilling, right? Because they know each other. Let's see. Let me catch up. And I see now you guys are gonna go do your show, and I'm gonna have to watch this. I gotta watch your show now. Let me see. Let me catch up. That was a great song. Yeah, Cloud's the hall monitor. Yeah, I like Cloud. He's funny. Yeah, I guess he was drinking. What did they call that sauce? What was Mick calling it? Something sauce, fellas. What was that called? When he said that, I'm like, yeah, maybe he's been drinking or something. I don't know. The whole channel, though, like that whole thing, like I said in the beginning, it had fire from the beginning. And I wanted to say piss and vinegar, but I didn't say that. I was like, ooh, this is going to be good today. I could tell. With all this energy and everything. Maybe it's like a full moon tonight or something. That was good. Let's see, Mr. Mono, Evening Arch. Let's see, Brett, hey, you can. Hey, Sean, let's see. I'm kicking cancer's ass. Excellent, excellent. So it's all catch said it's good piss and vinegar chat. Yes, yeah, it was a good piss and vinegar chat. I thought so. That's what I liked about it. You know, and I got to give Stella a lot of credit because she knows how to put up with you fellas. She's really good at it. She lets you guys have it, too, every now and then. At one point, she goes, so what? They were like getting into this thing, and she's like, hello? Who cares? So what? Oh, it was good. I like her a lot. She's also very good at what she does. Let's see. Mr. Mo, it's all 50s here like spring. I know. I gotta go turn my heat down a little bit. Yep, it's 49 degrees here in Indiana. I'll take it. I know, but it's not going to stay like that, fellas. We're coming in for the cold. And by the way, Ken, warning tonight for the rest of the weekend. Flood warning. That's what I got earlier. Flood warning. Let's see. You can see what it looks like. See full forecast. Look at this. Check this out. This is Hartford, Boston. Let's see. 3 weather alerts. Up to Albany. And there's all this coming in here. Yeah, see? Looks like shit. Coastal flood. 1.5 to 2.5 of inundation above ground level is likely in vulnerable areas near the waterfront shoreline. With Monday afternoon high tide, locally 3 feet. That'll be more here, but it'll be by some parts of where you are, Ken. Let's look at the map. So, yeah, we get inundated. So, extreme is like this color here. High wind, coastal flood. Severe is all of this sort of lighter. And then the yellowy yellow is moderate. And mild is blue, which you see nothing of. And look at it. It goes all over. I mean, look at this huge swath. Wow. So, moderate is up to like Nova Scotia, Yeah, Washington, Richmond, up into Pennsylvania. That's all of New York, basically. I mean, way up. There's a few areas it doesn't hit, but good thing it's not snow. All right, let me come back. Yeah. So I got a lot done today, and which is good. That's what I was trying to get done, get all that stuff cleaned up. And, yeah, let's just take a look real quick. So let me hit that graphic again, because I got to catch up with you guys. Let me hit that graphic again. Let's see if it still works. Does it work? Yeah, that's me. So that's the other graphic. Let's see. I'm going to learn how to do it. I'll show you guys what I'm trying to do. All right, I'm practicing. A little bit tonight too, because I'm trying to learn the macros and I'm trying to learn the chroma keying and luma keying and all this stuff. I took a lot of this in school. We had an effects generator and it looked kind of like this, except it was a box the size of a VCR or something that sat on the table. It was kind of big. It was a little bigger than that. Let's see if I can remember it. Let's see. This is the media. And that's there. So on the air... Let me bring up my ATEM Mini. I have to go to macros. Let's see, agenda. Let's run it. That's a macro. This should come off. Let's see. I'll move you. It looks like it might work. No. Still doing this. Oh, I have to come here, maybe? Have to come to Luma. Kinda. Yeah. Let's see. No. It won't remember its position. All right. Abort. I'm not good yet with the macro stuff. You can actually take it into an editor. And if you get it to work, you can tweak the code. I've written code. I've run game servers. I actually tried playing DayZ SA standalone with my friend made a server. I showed him how to do stuff years ago. It sucks. It sucks because he makes the zombies crazy. Like at night it gets dark and they hoard and they run and they attack and I'm like, no, it's not what you want, bro. Everybody will just leave. That's what I did. I kept leaving. I'm like, I'm not playing this anymore. Let's see. Yeah, good piss and vinegar chat, Mr. Ball. Mr. Ball, 50s here like spring. Yep, it's 49 degrees in Indiana, and I'll take it. Yes, Mr. Modal. Oh, my daughter has been clean for 12 years after stage 4B cancer. That's excellent, bro. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, you can lick this stuff. There's ways. The grass bat into house. Yeah, the grass bat. That's Brett, right? Because Brett's eyes aren't good, so he said, so let me fill them in, Brett. So Brett was trying to explain that his eyes aren't that good, right? So he's like, well, I'm a grass rat, except I don't see well, so I'm a grass bat. I fell off my chair again. I'm like, what the hell? So I kept getting distracted. I'm trying to get what I got to get done outside before the weather turns to crap. And every time I come in here, something good was going on at Ken's. And I'm like, oh, let me sit in on it for a little bit. And then, I'm watching the time and the sunlight fade. I ate lunch. They were still going. I went and worked. I came in and out, chatting. I get banned, whatever. I come back. I have to go in, check my blood, adjust, right? I come out. I get some dinner. I come out. They're still going. I actually went to see if you guys were in the gray zone a little bit later, Ken, but I think you guys were all gone by then because I was so far behind everything. Let's see. Ken says, Mr. Mole, I can change the panelist name in the chat. Stay tuned for next week. Excellent. The grass bat. Yeah, that's a good inside joke. I like that one. Bleach says, I just ate a big bowl of rain bran so I can get up early. Yeah, raisin bran. Yeah, Sunday weather. Yeah. Oh, geez. Prunes give you the sheets. It sure does. Yeah, are they hard to find at Walmart? I have a box of them inside. I occasionally eat them. They're really good for you. Oh, Ed's here. Hello, Ed. Let's see, Mr. Moral Arch. I suck at editing. Yeah, I know. It's hard. I spent a lot of time learning it. I was pulling my hair out, what's left of it. I guess I have, nothing left now, right? And some of that's because of editing. But, like I said, I took some of this stuff in school, and it was really hard when I started off. I should get the award for the worst YouTuber because I was the worst YouTuber. So I really should get that award. And when I started off, the camera equipment that I had was just crap. But I wanted to try it, and I wanted to see what it was like. And so I did a little bit at a time, mostly with my Nova before I sold it. And I wanted to take, some legacy stuff. And when I got my first camera was a Canon M50. And, a lot of people talk about it as such a great camera. What a piece of crap. It broke in a month. First of all, it's totally the wrong camera for anybody on YouTube. It has a 29.7 minute limit on recording. I'm so freaking long-winded, right? I could talk for an hour and the thing would shut off a half hour before, right? I'm like, how the hell is that going to work for me? And then what if I want to just let the camera run? Because a lot of times what I do is I plug these cameras in and I'll let the camera run and I'll edit it out. Because I might say something and work on something for a bit and then I'm like, oh crap, I need a tool. I need this. I need that. Because nowadays I set myself up a little bit more. But in the beginning, I needed better batteries and most of these little cameras have crap batteries. And then you start to record, you get sidetracked. Next thing you're done and you look over and you realize, I didn't get any of that footage. That camera stopped recording a while ago. Oh, what a horror. Yeah, I had to figure all that out. Let's see, Robert says, Fast Now is no longer taking paper money. What's Fast Now? Must have a credit card to buy stuff in the store. Is that like a local store down by you? Where are you again? Are you in Alabama or in or Georgia or something? I forget. Where are you, Robert? Ken says, Fastenal is great for heart. Oh, Fastenal? I don't think I have that. We don't have that here. Edward says, had to watch Hans Gruber take a swan dive from the Nakatomi building. Isn't it Christmas until you watch Hans Gruber's swan dive? Yeah. Yeah. What was that? He said, that one line that he said, Euro trash or something like that. That's going back. Wow. Hans Gruber. Hans Gruber. Movie Maker is what I use for editing. Bleach says, yeah, I used to use that. That's what I started on. So now I use DaVinci. And that's what the company that owns DaVinci is who makes this ATEM Mini here, down here. So really what they are is they make equipment, professional equipment. And how a lot of this came to be, a quick short story on that, it wasn't just from YouTube. What it really came was from Netflix. When Netflix, interesting enough, Netflix wanted to be like YouTube. They admired the YouTube concepts and stuff. And they're like, well, somewhere along the line, I don't know the whole story exactly, but somewhere along the line, they realized that's just not going to happen. So they started their whole movie thing. And they realized that one of the things that hadn't really been done before with changing hardware that was coming out, technology-wise, things are getting smaller, cameras were going digital, etc. What they did is they changed the standards. So certain standards for, like, there are standards for news broadcasting, right? There are standards for the footage type that could be broadcast over the air, the way it was recorded, the type of hardware that was required to do a news broadcast, whether it was in studio or out of studio. There are standards for making sitcoms, right? And the kind of equipment and who you can use. Usually a lot of these kinds of things are driven by not just standards in the industry, the FCC, but also unions. And Netflix was like, well, hell with all of that, right? What if we lower the standards? We're going to go to some cheaper hardware, F the unions, right? We're going to bring in a lot of young people coming out of these, like I went to school or whatever. They're coming out and they're maybe you've worked freelance in the industry. We'll bring these people together, see if we get something to make some shitty movies. And the process of that essentially created a greater need for cheaper gear that a small outfit could handle and buy and or rent and carry. And that equipment, the cameras people and technology people were like, well, yeah, I think we could cater to that. And then YouTube blew up. And then, well, Sony, right? I use Sony equipment, a lot of this stuff. Sony's great with all kinds of stuff. And they realized that there was really a market there, and that they could take advantage of it. So it all kind of grew and grew and grew. So that's why we are where we are today. And that's why so many YouTube channels look and sound so damn good. They're really basically working with in some cases, I wouldn't say the lower end of the technology, but they're working with that kind of technology that is now available to a lot of YouTubers. And that's where DaVinci and, Black Magic Design is the name of the company. They sell a lot of like camera gear and stuff, and they decided to come out with an editor to compete with the editors that are out there like Adobe, and they made it free. They capped some of the features, but most of those features you would never use, especially if you were starting out. And so you can download it. You should run it on like a computer that has some decent hardware on it. And it takes a while to learn, but it's not hard. Let's see, you guys are all saying hello. See, Johnny Bravo, best folks are from Alabama. Nice. Let's see, what did Robert tell us where? Tell us where he came from. I don't remember. Edward says to watch Hans Gruber. Let's see. Best folks from Alabama. I'm not wearing my Alabama shirt. Yippee-ki-yay, and you can fill in the rest. Yeah, yep. I have to charge your phone. It's dying. I'll be listening. Now, take care, everyone. See you later, brother. Thanks for having me on the show earlier. Yeah. Hey, Zippo, you're doing okay. Hey, Bleed. Yep, they're looking for my PET scan. That's excellent. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to get to, get to the neat. Let's take a look at what's going on in 1970s Bleecker Street. Nice little transition there, huh? Spill the wine, take that girl. That was a great song, bro. You always come up with this shit. Hold on. I haven't heard that in forever. I could play it, but I'll just have to cut this out later. Right on. Let me see if I can get it. Take that pearl, I think it is. Oh, I feel so much better. Oh, that's a lot. Oh my God. I have a twisted sense of humor, fellas. I can't help it. But that's how I am. So I just wanted to show you, fellas, drain the lizard. Got to drain the vein and make the bladder feel gladder. What do I do with my glasses? Hold on, my glasses on. I want to show you some fellas what I was up to. So, last week I think I showed you fellas I got the some chains, extra set of chains put on the tractor, and I was able to pull the van in the back. And I was kind of working on the idea of maybe not dropping the gas tank. And yeah, well, no, that's not going to happen because I gotta get in to drop the tank and replace the fuel pump because the van is dead. And I'm thinking, oh, man, how the hell am I going to deal with all of this? It's freezing out now. It rains constantly. It's going to be really cold. I actually took a day off this week because I was so cold that I just had to be in bed, because I lost some weight, so I have, no fat on my body now. 50 degrees, I could be out in it all day. Who cares, right? 40? No. So I was trying to see if I could get around it, but because it's a bit of a custom van, I can't. I'll just show you a couple of things and a few other things too. And I want to show you this cool little paddle wheel. So that didn't work. And because there's custom seats in the way, and you'll see, I can't get at the area I need to cut. And you ain't getting this plate out because the bolts and the washers are on the underside. 2 of them we can get to, but the other 2 are, of course, above the tank. Sometimes you just can't win. I've already had the tank out a couple of times because this isn't the first time since I've owned the van that I've had to do a fuel pump. But, if it was 50 degrees out, I wouldn't even think about it. I'd be like, yeah, cool. We're going to get in there. There's tons of mud underneath there. So I need to pressure wash. There's so much mud that I just crawled underneath there. It was falling in my face. So I'm going to be fighting with this nonsense. I'll just show you a couple of things. We're just going to whiz through some stuff. Drain that lizard. Let's see here. Bring up the right monitor. Here we go. This is my old van. It's getting old now. I'll just take a quick peek. All right, well, unfortunately, this seat plate is pretty much right where we need to be. It's like the hole should be right here-ish, about 69 inches in. I'm going to remeasure it in a minute, but this plate is right. It's going to be right in the way. This would be a great plate to cover over the issue, but you can't get to these bolts. There's 2 washers back there and nuts underneath. And then these here, most likely, they're going to be somewhere where the tank is. Because the tank is like right in this area. Right, there's the fill up there. We come down to here. So this is about where the front of the tank is. And this is about where you would find it. At the fuel log area.
So what you could do is take the tank down and take this out and then cut your hole and then put that back. But, you know, the thing is, it needs to be mounted with, you know, through bolts and washers and nuts because you got a seat. So there really is no way around this. So I removed some of the rug. Looks pretty good, and I found some new stuff. By the way, the underside of the truck is filthy. It's full of mud, so it has to be washed. You can't go underneath there. I can't even show you because I can't get underneath. I clean all this up, and we see, you know, hole here, hole there, there's a hole there, there's water coming in. It's getting underneath the mat over there. At least I got rid of that, you know, just full of oil and mold.
Yeah, I spilled oil in it.
This is
a lot.
Seat that I never
used oil.
But we'll leave those in place, clean them up a little bit because they might make good mounts for other things, right? A place to secure stuff to the floor.
Like tractors?
So we could make use of that. So I'm gonna
and quads?
Here, but it's just really muddy. I don't even think you're going to be able to see it. I can't get the camera underneath there. But just because of these things. Now these have to come off, all right? Because we've got rot down here, not on the door, but it's in the bottom sill plate. Which is, you know, this is a unibody, so it's kind of like my Nova or the Camaros. It's got a whole front subframe and then it mounts to a unibody. So we're going to want to get to that at some point this year. So these really need to come off. In fact, one of the mounts is broken, and you'll get a better look another time. But you can see all the mud. Needs shocks in the rear, spring shocks, so I want to do that too for inspection. But I'll get you underneath here. This is where the tank is. And it's already been out, so I've already...
It's full of fuel, too. I just put gas in it.
What are we going to do, right? We got to get it up in the air, get the tires off in the rear, and we'll get the pressure washer out. But we're coming into 35, 40-degree weather. Now it's going to start freezing. So here's the gas tank filler. What am I going to do? All right, I'm stuck. All right, let me close up.
Yeah. So I used to put... Going back, so like I bought this like 15 years ago or whatever. It was almost new. I don't know, not really, but it was. Anyway, I used to put my quad in the back. I had a little like cheap, the cheap winch that I put on my work table. I had that in there, and I used to just hook the quad up, and I'd run over to the racetrack or whatever, and I just pull my Raptor up in there, and it would sit nice, it fit in. And I spilled oil in it one day and on the rug, and it made a mess, and it started to stink, and it was horrible. So I was like, you know what? I have a bunch of things I need to do. We need to save this van because now it needs a whole bunch of work. And last year and the year before, I put some of the videos out, but I think I might start putting some of the videos out. It won't work well for this channel, but if I ever started another channel, what I noticed is this is basically an Astro van, which are decent vans. It's an extended Astro van, and it's a custom extended Astro van. So it has all these bells and whistles. It's got rear AC and stupid crap. Had a TV in it and everything. Anyway, Astros now are popular because used cars are popular, because new cars are ridiculously expensive, and it's very useful. And it has a 6-cylinder, so it's got the Vortex 6 in it, which is actually a pretty decent motor, and it's got the 4L60 or 4L80. Which is GM's overdrive transmission, which is a really nice transmission. It's also a coveted transmission for guys like me that are hot rodders. For a little while, I was actually thinking about putting it in my Nova, if anything ever happened to the van. So this van got totaled, and the insurance company totaled it because it got hit in the back from a neighbor, right? One of the migrants or whatever backed into it and took off. So I was like, going to get it fixed, and they said, well, with the graphics and everything, and it'll cost more than what we want to pay for the van. So I had a small loan on it. And I said, well, that's my opportunity. I said, well, I want to hold the title on it. And one of the ways, because of UCC, Universal Code, if you have a lien on your vehicle, you don't own it. Generally, when you have a title on a vehicle, you don't own it. You actually need a registration, just a registration, like the old cars, right? That's different. If a title, if the vehicle is determined to be totaled, what you do is what the government does. Okay, under British Maritime Law, UCC code, you offer to salvage the vehicle. That's what salvage yards do. They actually own those vehicles. They actually own when they salvage a vehicle. So the bank lets go of it, the state lets go of it, and essentially I then paid off everyone. And I then, a lot of times they won't let you do this, but I managed to get hold of the title, and then I retitled it, and it's a salvaged vehicle. And without getting too deep into that, I'm the salvager. I've actually done videos on this, on what sovereignty means and what it means to be a person, and you know, all this nonsense. It's just legal bullshit. So I own it, and I own it outright. Now, I'm not supposed to sell it. Like, you really can't sell a vehicle like this because it's totaled. There is a way. It is titled to me, and I'm allowed to drive it and register it. I don't own the roads, so that's why you need a license, and that's why you need to register it, because we don't own the roads, although we should, because they are ours. Anyway, that's another story. And it's in really good shape overall, and it wasn't that much damage, and it was right back by where the rear AC unit is. So you have to remove that rear AC unit, and then I was thinking about just buying like a small quarter panel piece and then grafting it in and then throwing a little bit of paint and clear coat on it, just like sprucing it up. And it would be mint, because most of the van is waxable. I mean, except for like the little area where that dent is and the hood, just that little hood. It just, for some reason or other, the paint let go on it. Bleach is out of here. Yeah. See you, Bleach. See you, Bleach. Yeah, I'm going to go through a couple more things before we get out of here. I think this is TJ's.
Simple. All these bolts, all the way around. All of these bolts, right? All the way around. Now, these are in these nuts here. So then you got to get these are bolted in. See this flank here, that flank there. We're gonna get all that off, and then if you really want to take the cover off, you got to take this off.
Yeah.
We might actually want to do that, so we can get in here without the cover in the way.
Yeah, let's see what it looks like without the cover. It's pretty clean.
And there you have it. And there's your little Tecumseh.
Yeah.
Two-smoker. This all looks pretty good in here.
A little two-smoker.
But now we can clean it, and we're just going to take like a few more pieces off. We want to get to the belt cover, so a couple more bolts, and that's it. Right, real simple. There's a lot of little pesky bolts. This is moving, or at least this part is moving, which is good. That's a good sign. That's why we want to get lubricant in there. Just oil, nothing else, but good oil in there, and get it lubed up good. They get jammed. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. And then we'll get the bottom cover off so we can get to the carburetor, right? This way we could test everything like this. Got to take the gas cap off. Somebody kind of borked the threads. So it's always nice. And then we can get to the tank and clean it. Isn't that nice? I'm going to do the other one too, because we got this one. By the way, this one, sorry for the camera jerk, but because I'm a jerk. This is Anthony's, so this is TJ's, or Tony. And that one's mine.
Yeah, it's probably about 3 horsepower, yeah.
Okay.
That one's messed up.
Next.
That's this one.
All right.
That's mine. It's a mess.
This is kind of the beat one. A lot of these bolts here broke. You can see this.
And the tub is broken.
Right. It's let me see if I can get out of the out of your way. No matter what I do, I can't seem to get at it. Yeah. I'm going to be in the light, but it's still moving. But if it gets cleaned, it might work. But this thing is a little bit beat. This barrel is broken.
Yeah, it's shot.
Here, it's cracked. Okay? So it's lost its integrity. Somebody tried to put this here, and it's cracking here. So
yeah.
It's shot. But the parts might.
I won't sell it.
See if we can get the motor.
I'll I'll take it for parts or whatever. The plastics are really nice shape.
And a quick rinse, and then we'll leave it.
This is TJ's. It's in nice shape.
Yeah, just kind of letting it set up. We got the extra plastics, so whatever plastics are better, it's really the same. But I think they're actually, the plastics are in good shape.
His is a little smaller.
You can't see. That's a little chewed up over there, but it's not terrible. But Tony's is, TJ's is much better. So that's just sitting with a little bit of super clean. Just gonna leave it for a little bit. I'll come back, and it'll get wiped down. And next thing up is I'm gonna do this guy.
Yeah, check this guy out.
So let me bring this one up on the table. We'll
yeah.
This one apart, and at some point we need to find something for here.
It's missing the handle.
Make something.
The actuator handle.
Or change this whole handle, or.
Yeah, I gotta figure that out. Yeah, we can cut and weld. That's the T-ender washer.
Toro Power Clear 621.
The power to clear.
163 3cc overhead valve 4-cycle engine electric start 2-year full warranty, which has since expired. Let's get this thing apart.
Yeah, let's get it apart.
Maybe we'll see. All right, fellas, I checked the oil. There is some in it. This don't look bad. This don't look bad. It's not hard to take off. You got a lot of screws and stuff. There's an entryway in there. What if we just go hook up the electric start and got a little fuel in it and throw some ether in it?
Yep.
Pour some ether in there and just see if it kicks. Let me set up the camera.
Camera coming up.
All right, fellas, let's just see what happens. Let me put my safety glasses on. She's probably going to make well, it's going to shoot out of here, if anything. It's probably going to blow crap all over. That's okay, I'll stand back. Might be priming, I don't know.
We got a runner!
All right, we got a runner, fellas. Let's get it on the clean line, and then I'll put it to the side. I got another machine to do first. But I think we've got everything off that we need to take off.
Yeah. This is the piece of crap.
Yeah, she's rough.
Yeah, there might be a few things on there.
I'll park this one first, because this blonde. Maybe want to hold on to, we could work it.
Yeah.
Doro's nice.
Yeah.
All right,
This thing came clean.
Just clean it up. Oh, it looks good, fellas. It looks real good.
Yeah, it's going to need a carb, I bet.
Let me clean up, get all this stuff in.
Yeah, the Chevy Astra van.
Yeah, she's nice and clean. She was pretty nasty, huh?
They're big now. People are really into them.
Chance to work on the van.
I was checking out YouTube. Like, people have like 50,000 views on a freaking Astro van.
Drip.
Yeah, it's nice and clean. There's Tony's. There's Anthony's.
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks
Nice
good.
and clean, DJ. Oh, yeah.
That's going to be sweet.
The one on the table's a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger motor. Got the bigger muffler. Right? Yours is a little bit smaller. See? A little bit bigger engine. Just a quick look at the head arrangement. You can see the overall size. I don't have the light on over here. But let's see just real quick. See, the head is much bigger. So she's a little more stout. I might run it like real quick. We might see if the electric start goes. I might fart it just to see.
Yeah, just to see.
You can pull these motors off. They're not terrible. The problem is getting the pulley off. So I don't really care about that. Mostly the starter. I mean, I have done transplants before, but it's not.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, I don't do it anymore. I'm coming back. I just don't do it anymore. But yeah, I think that'll be fun, fooling around with. This is all the crap, by the way. I had a lot of shit in the van and everything. I pulled it all out. I spilled all this oil. The Chevy Astro vans have gotten popular. A friend of mine bought one with the 4-wheel drive in it, and if I ever had a little bit of money again, I would definitely want one of those, especially for the winters and stuff. I mean, although we don't seem to get them so much anymore, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, that would probably be a 5 horsepower. And that's really what you want. You want a little bit more power. But he said his brother just needs something to kind of clear the walkway and everything, and it should be okay for that. Besides, it's his. It's not mine, and I'm not putting another motor on it, right? I don't have the time for that. I just want to get it together for him. So I'm going to start working on that probably Monday. I'm going to take tomorrow off. It's going to be raining. I'm going to be tired. But one of the things I want to work on is, just to show you guys real quick, I finished this thing up. And it's purty. It's real purty. So this is a customer. This is a real nice 9 horsepower, Takumi. Let's see, where's the other videos on it? She came out real nice. So I'm going to have a video out on that soon. But I put a HIPAA carburetor on it because his carburetor was, choyed. Isn't this thing pretty? It was just obliterated. And his carburetor was a fixed jet carburetor. So I put a HIPAA carburetor on it. It runs really good. And so going through the footage the other day, and so I showed the original carburetor. It was borked. There was water in it. It had rotted. And then I showed a little bit about the HIPAA carburetor. And the HIPAA carburetor has an idle jet adjustment and a high-speed mixture screw adjustment. His carburetor didn't have that. And then I showed me tweaking and tuning it. And I started to talk about, the procedure to... like if you get one of these carburetors that's fully adjustable, and it even has the French tickler on the bottom, fellas, to let some of the fuel out for your pleasure, right? And I was looking at this, I'm like, I think I did a pretty decent job of explaining a procedure on how to set up one of those carburetors. For somebody that bought, a lot of people today they're going to HIPAA or everywhere else and they're popping a new carburetor on well, how do you tune it? It's not a fixed jet. Of course, a lot of us know, right, that's key. Like if you get one of these carburetors, you would want that, right? No drilling, no muss, no fuss. You set the idle stop on the throttle, you set your governor, you got to just set your low speed mixture. When you idle down, you got to set your high speed, you idle up, you kind of bounce it back and forth, you get, everything nice and clean. And I was thinking about, well, why don't I just go through real quick, just really fast, like just as I'm talking here, some B-roll. Fellas, clean it up, take it apart, get it all clean, get the gas tank super clean, do your oil change. I went over the magneto real fast. You want to make sure that's nice and clean and gapped to like 10 thousandths. Put a new plug in it. Then put the carburetor on and run the engine till it's warm. Here's some I went over some preliminary adjustments. Don't over rev it. This thing was revving at like 4,000 RPMs. Somebody was, when you get these carburetors, they probably just do like a basic fixture test of some kind. So a basic preliminary, get it warm. This thing hasn't run in a few years, so there's that. Okay, and a lot of us know that if a motor hasn't run in a while, and you get it running again, it might fight you. There's some staining on the valve seats. There might be a little staining around the cylinder. Rings may be a little sticky. Just because you kind of went over some of it and popped the fresh carburetor doesn't mean it's going to run properly if you get it running. So I show that, and I was pretty brief about it. Like it could be a 20-minute video or so on how to just take a HIPAA carburetor out of a box, basic quick freshening up of your machine or your engine, right? So you can put your new HIPAA carburetor on with all these nice adjustments, and then of course, how the hell do you do? Because a lot of people have asked me, Arch, I need you to show more about how to adjust the weed whacker or the chainsaw. What are you doing at this moment in time when you're turning the screw? And I was real careful to yell out, going in with this screw, coming out with this screw. I kept taking readings from the tachometer and trying to show it. So I could overdub even on some of that. And, adding some text in and everything and pausing the video. And if I can keep it like, 20 minutes max, I think that might be a good how-to video. I've never done anything that detailed before. The only problem I had is I used the cheaper camera. It's this one over here. And that cheaper camera, it doesn't have the same screen that folds out. And I should have used this. Okay, I can connect my cell phone to these cameras. And what's nice is I could have set it up on the stand. Should have used this camera, this one here. Because not only does it have a screen that folds up this way, but I could also attach this to it, which is bigger than the little screen on the camera. And I can even use this screen, by the way. All right, it's just an app. And when I put the tachometer on top of the plug wire, the window, the border of the top of the camera lens was just about over it. You can see it, but there was a lot more bottom room. You could see the tire, but you could barely see my tack. And I can't see it on this camera here. So that was my mistake. Now you can see the tack, but I also yelled it out, and then I pick up the tack and I bring the tack closer, but glare. I'm sure you fellas know. You get a certain amount of glare, but I could also put a tag up on the screen like I've been doing, where I also show in text what the RPM is, and then I can also overdub. So even though I screwed up a little bit, I didn't blow the shot. I got real close to blowing the shot because I shouldn't have used this camera. I should have used the better camera. I stopped using the better camera for a lot of things outdoors because the screen broke like a year or so ago. I was outside doing a shoot on something. And at the end of the day, it was a nice day. I come in, it was a successful day. And I go to sit down to do, I think, an outro or something. And I look at the camera and I'm like, why is there a crack in my screen? By the way, the squirrels throw crap out of the trees at you. I mean, who knows? They're eating at something. I don't know what the hell they do. Something hit it. Yeah, a carb with a clitoris. Oh, my God. Ramo says, remember the wild cherry van from the movie's Fame back? Yeah, oh, my God, that's a blast. Oh, you're going to get me going down that road. Look for Baby Boomers tribute Summer Nights of the 1970 Van Nuys Boulevard. All right, hold on. If I don't do it now, well, it's okay. I'll remember it anyway, but I'm going to just copy this and stick it in my Note++. Hold on. Just so I have, because, I want to look for that. I'll put that, if I can find it, I will put that up for next week. We didn't get to a couple of things. I'm going to get off it a little bit, but we did miss out on a couple of things. The one thing I did want to mention before I forget is, hold on. Let me close that out, minimize it. I did want to at least see if I can find it. I'm going to interrupt myself. Let me go to, just real quick, fellas. I'm going to put this link in here, as I did promise. Okay, that is DNR small engine repair, and it's also in the description. So he's let me just show you guys. I'm just going to go to it real quick just to show you fellas. Let's see. 404 not found. Did I not get it in? Did I not get the link in correctly? Hold on. Sometimes these links don't work. Oh yeah, I'm getting a 404. Hold on. Yeah, it's coming up blue. Let me just do a quick search. And yeah, here he is. And I'll take you to his home page. Let's go to his home page. Stick with me for a minute, fellas. Stick with me. All right, so this is it. I might have accidentally truncated the link. Yeah, he was at Ken's today. Yeah. So that should be the correct link. And just to show you fellas real fast, because even though it's getting late and all, but This is his homepage. And let's see, 59 subscribers. I think he lost one. I saw 60 earlier. Well, he might have. But, I remember back to, when I started like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, actually. He's always got 50 videos. And, it's hard, But look, he's got all of this stuff, playing around with chainsaw, mail call, donuts, tools, Echo, a bunch of, saws and whatever, all of this stuff. It just takes a while. Let me come back. And by the way, again, shout out to Robert, because Robert has been doing a lot of work. I can't even keep up with all the stuff. He put out Robert put out a video the other day that was widescreen, fellas. Did you guys see it? I was like, nice, widescreen too. I got to check out what he's up to on that too. I'll catch up with his stuff tomorrow. But, it's hard. If you're a small channel, it's really hard. I think the best thing to do is it's practice. You have to keep cranking out videos and try to learn from whatever mistakes you make, if you can fix them or not. A lot of it is just constantly just trying to put stuff out there. I go back occasionally, I delete some of the really bad performers or the stuff that I just don't want, that isn't that good. It helps with the algorithm. It takes about, I've heard a lot of people say this, and I've noticed this past year. It takes about 10 months. So if you put out a video, not all of your videos, but let's say you put out a video that has some interest, and it's like a how-to video, because YouTube really is a search algorithm. It's really what it is. And you put out a video, and it's a decent searchable thing, how to fix your chainsaw or whatever. It might take 10 months before YouTube does anything with it. So, let's see. Yeah, Brian says, the wild cherry van was lost for many years. Somebody found it in a field, smashed, and completely restored it. I think I heard that story. Brett says, James does a lot of text overlay in his generator videos. Nice, yeah. Yep. Well, he started editing right away. Like, he nailed a lot of stuff from the very beginning. Yes, he was at Ken's today. Donuts. KCB comes in late. What's up, KCB? Yeah, he's at the end of the show. We're all like getting ready to leave and say goodbye, and Casey comes in. That's good to have you, bro. But yeah, I'm just chilling now, scratching my balls, wanting to hang out, just chill out, right? Get to the end of the day, showered, all clean, ready to go eat more crap, ready to refrigerator, see what's left. But yeah, I had a pretty good week and a good day, and it's been a good couple of days, and it's over now, right? Because now it's going to rain. And yes, Arch, I will something on the Time Master to my channel. Yeah, you got it, bro. I told you guys about, Brett knows about the Time Master I got in the backyard. And if I can square the cash, I'm going to do a test on it. And if I can square the cash, I'm going to try to find a deck for it. Because I saw them on eBay for like 100. They're probably more than that now because everything is going up. But Casey says, looking for info on Husqvarna articulating mower. Yeah, I bet you are. You mentioned that. I can't help you there. I've never worked on any of those, like, per se. But there's plenty of info out there, I would think, right? Seen where you and stepped in. Seen you were in and live and stepped in. Yes, cool. See, look, fellas, look, I want to show you. This is what I'm talking about, right? This crap here. Let me show you. See this thing here? Look at this thing. Look at this stupid thing. Look at this. I can't read anything. Look, you see this stupid thing here? Notice it's like, if anybody types anything to the end of the line, I can't read it. See, Casey wrote this, the first one here, this one above. I couldn't read it. Now he wrote just something not really, right? What do you say not really to? Seen you were live and stepped in, not really what? I don't remember what we were saying now. See this stupid heart thing? How do I move that? Because I can't read the last person that says something. I can't read all of their words. How do I get rid of this thing? Why do they have to put it here? That's a stupid place to put that. I don't know, but that's something for another day. Coming back. It's always something. Not a lot of info. Yeah. That happens, right? That's why you got to be the guy now to make up everything, because now it falls on you. Right? You're going to have to be the guy to invent it. Go to the library or something. I don't know. But somehow or other, you now have to be the guy that invents the way forward. It falls on you. It's your job. You can put it up on your channel and stuff like that is weird. You could wind up in a situation where it's so rare or just nobody wants to be bothered and no one will ever watch it. Or it could be one of those things that people literally are looking for it for some reason or other that's just not out there. And then you put something like that up when you figure stuff out and show it. And it's like, within a year, it's like, wow, this hit big. Let's see. Not a lot of info on Husqvarna. Yeah, he laughs. He laughs. Almost scrape. See, I can't read what you say because it's stupid heart's in the way. That's so frustrating. Almost scrapped it. Oh, maybe that's what he said. Yeah, don't scrap it yet. I have a bunch of things. I want to scrap that 2-smoker after I'm done with TJ's. I got a lineup out there for my scrap guy, Juan, my buddy Juan. And I think I'm going to call him up either, well, we're getting close to the holidays, so maybe January, and just clear the decks. There's not a lot out there, but there's enough. And it would be nice to, those are official scrap things, that some of that stuff that's back there, and I can get rid of it. And he's been taking a little bit at a time. And he told me, he says, you don't always have to wait for a big load. I'm like, yeah, but I don't like to bother you because there's not a lot of money in any of this shit. But he's close. And when he's out on a scrap run or whatever he's got planned, I'm like, just fit it in when it's convenient for you. It doesn't matter to me. Scrapped it. Yeah. Scrapped it. Crap it. But I'll hold on to stuff as long as I can. I'm smoking clips over here. I'll hold on as long as I can, and then it just gets to a point where, you know what? It's not worth it. But I will hold on to shit for a while. It seems like when you scrap something, it's almost a guarantee that now you're going to get another one that you're going to need that part for. As it's some kind of karmic balancing act. It falls upon you to stock a certain amount of junk. You just have to figure out where to put it and how to hidey hole it. And if you don't have a lot of room to do that, well, then you just got to take what you can take and get it gone. I have a little bit of room back there, so let's see. This is that was almost the fate of my Time Master, but my body got it for me. Yeah. Every single time, Casey says, "Yep, yeah." Mike, this Time Master too. Because Mikey was going to just get rid of it, and I said, "No, we'll let this kick around." I think there's enough there, and like I said, if I get it running and it looks like, I said, I just want to know if the spindles work, if the motor works and the spindles turn. I don't care about the blades. I just want to know that the spindles work, the motor turns over good, and the transmission in the back and the gears aren't stripped. The rest seems to work. I mean, it's personal pace, and even that pushes forward, and everything actuates as far as I can tell. Because usually you can tell when those things are not moving. So, I junked tons of snowblower parts. Yeah, I got rid of almost everything. The last thing that I have of the snowblower is the customer's going to pick up this one next week because he's in Florida. And then I've got that Toro. And I'm going to scrap this little guy. I just can't see selling it. It will probably run, but with a broken plastic barrel. I mean, you could patch it and everything, but I can guarantee it needs a carb because that stupid little cup is aimed up and the plastic cover is missing, and it was full of sand. That little cup on the carburetor. I don't know why they face that up. I usually turn them around the other way. I don't know what their thinking is on that. There's no filter or anything, so it's just a cup. Brett says, mine is pretty solid. They got a 0 turn, so they shoved this off in the corner to go to scrap. Yeah. But they're nice lawnmowers, and like my lawn's big enough, definitely to sort of warrant a Time Master for sure. I mean, it's what are they, 30-inch cut? I think, is that what they are? Which is, a decent size. And they got the 2 blades that spin in there. And it's an easy lawnmower to use. So it's just those engines on the newer Briggs. Yeah, it's a 30, yeah. Those engines are kind of weak. I mean, it is this sort of bigger variant of that Briggs OHV. They're not terrible. Generally, I mean, I go through a lot of them. They're not as nice as the Flatties, but this is the slightly bigger variant. I think it's like 8.75 foot-pounds of torque, or almost 9. I don't know what the horsepower is on it. Maybe 5, 6. But the overhead valves are decent. They run okay. They run pretty good considering what they are. Coils burn out. Oh, the bag on this thing is in nice shape. Yeah, so if you've never used a bag, you got a nice bag for it. That's nice. The bag on this one's in decent shape. That was the other thing too. And I do use the bag from time to time, and they do make decent mulching mowers. Mikey would want me to sell it ultimately, but here's the thing, right? All my stuff is old, and like my car, I used to keep like a backup car around. I don't have a backup car, so now I have no car, and I'm going to be out there fixing it in lousy weather, and it's going to be lousy for a good part of the week and super cold. I got to finish these machines. I have to get them done. The past 2 days was perfect for working on the van. Couldn't do it. I had to work. I had to do stuff. And it gets dark at 4. So, and I don't get up that early. I just don't, because I'm usually up late. Usually it's not a problem. I'm not really even on a winter schedule yet. Yeah, they never used the bag, so the bag is like new. Yeah. Yeah, but that's nice. And any machine with a bag that's in really nice shape, if you get the machines, set up really good, a bag is worth, in my area, a bag can raise the value of the machine by $30, $40, $50. It depends upon the machine. It can actually raise the machine value up a lot. Especially depending upon what time of year. The end of the year, it really increases the value. Still no snow here, so everything is extremely slow. Yeah, like I said, I was selling lawnmowers. If I had another lawnmower, I guarantee you, another couple of lawnmowers, they would have been sold this weekend. But I've been selling lawnmowers up till last week. I had to drop the prices, but people were buying them because they're nice machines, and they're still out in the yard, cutting, grinding, bagging, blowing. Yeah, you like to bag when you mow? Yeah, Brett, did you catch the conversation that was this? Again, this is another heated conversation. This is between the hall monitor, right, and Mick about bagging versus lawn care versus mulching. And they were like, I was like, here we go. I mean, they both had good, valid points. But sometimes I think what happens is, people are opinionated. And so when you're talking opinions versus facts, what I notice is sometimes people, like, instead of talking to one another, they talk at each other. And it's like there's no connection. It's like they're not listening in this weird way. And it's just what's in your own head, and that's all. You just have to make that point. Drive that point. Drive that point. Drive that point. That can get annoying. And that's when Mick, he tapped out. He was like, I don't think we're going to be able to get through this. Yeah, it does look better that way. Yeah. Yeah, so, and I was going to chime in. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I just said some stuff about the differences between lawn care versus, cutting your lawn. Some of us out here still have acreage. And for the most part, we'll just mulch that. You might get a grass pickup at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year when you want to deal with the pine needles and the leaves and all the overburden that you get from mulching all year long, and now you've got all this big nature dump on your property. I used to do a lot of that. Yeah, I used to do the full suction. Now I just mulch everything because I don't have time. And these sections of the yard, the dog wrecks this section over here, and this section I wreck. So I just kind of tend to take care of the front. I bag on occasion. At the beginning of the year, I tend to bag a lot. I use a lot of it to tamp the garden down. I make pathways and stuff. And I'll put a lot of mulch into the garden like around this time of year or towards the end of the year as well when the garden is dead. And I start loading it. What I used to do was flatten the garden out and then lay to protect the soil, get all the junk out of there, and then I would lay a nice ground up bed of sort of mulched grass and whatever and leaves and coat it and protect it. And all the organisms will stay alive a lot longer underneath there. And they'll do their thing. They kept perseverating on mulching makes excess thatch. I think I know what you mean. It can. Yeah. I mean, anything that you throw down on your lawn in terms of bulk biomass is at some point going to build up, and that can cause problems for the grass to grow. Typically here, when it starts to get really warm out, like I start off the year, everything is low. Where Mick is in the UK, and South's part of the UK, the weather is very different. It's kind of like here for some of the year, but it stays like that for a long period of time. So they get golf course grass. They can cut it really short. If you continue to cut the grass short here, it will fry. You'll have to water it constantly. So you better have sprinklers. And I don't. So usually what people do here is what I do is I raise it up a little bit at a time. And by August-ish, like this August we had a lot of rain, so it greened up again. But you got to leave it kind of high, a couple of few inches. And it greened up again. So we didn't have the burnout. Usually the grass goes dormant around August. Everybody's. You'd have to be watering it every night. Yeah. Yeah, like he says, I quit mulching for that very reason. Yeah, I hear you. At some point, right, that's why aeration, but again, this is lawn care, and the plugger, not just the thatcher, but the aerator. I can't spell that word. I suck at spelling. The plugger, I like to think of it. Now, we have good drainage because it's sandy, right? We're near the beach, and we have real topsoil here. We don't have clay. Now, that's different. If you have clay, I don't know what to say. Hey, that kind of rhymes. I don't know how to deal with clay, I'm lost there. So it really depends on what kind of soil, what your climate is, what kind of grass you have. Yeah, the aerator. That's how you spell it. Yeah. Brett, do you when you talk into your phone, do you use that app so that you don't have to look and do the stupid thumb thing? Is that what you use? Because my ex-wife does that. My daughter does that. A lot of people do that. That's nice. That's a nice feature. Do you use that to make your life easier? Because if I don't put my glasses on, you actually type. If I don't put my glasses on, I can't really see the phone. I don't use the phone. My friend Liz sent me, I couldn't get to see her daughters, or I wanted to get to the one event, and my van was acting up, and I got cold, and I was like, fuck it. It's a good thing I did go home, because that was the last time the van moved. That's why I had to tow it. And so she sent me the link to the school systems now videotape this stuff, and they put it up on YouTube. And I'm like, I can't watch this. I can't see anything on this phone. I can't. I don't know. I can't make out the faces. Like the browser. I said this in my last video about searching for parts online. I'm like, fellas, get yourself a freaking computer or a laptop or something. Use a real browser. These browsers are not the same thing. You can't see what you're doing. You're all thumbs. We're all getting old. I got to put my glasses on. The phone or iPad is very close to my face. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, it's Mikey. We were just talking about it. What's up, Mike? We were just talking about that Time Master, Mike. He's like, go to bed. That's Mikey. Yeah. Nice. What are you doing? How come you're stopping him? Why are you not out wilding? Where are you? Mike, where are you? What are you doing? Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I was telling the fellas, Mike, you missed it. I was on a live show. I was like texting in a live show, my friend's live show, and one of the other fellows is the hall monitor. He banned me. He put me in timeout. Oh, it was so funny. Mike says, I just got home. I was out all night. Were you guys lighting fires and stuff out wilding? Yeah. Because my daughter tells me about some of the stuff that you guys do. There's a little seed right there. That's a lemon seed. I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So the van is dead in the driveway. The fuel pump died. I just made it home. So now I got to drop the tank on that bad boy. I was telling everybody I was trying to see if I can go in from the top, but there's a big seat mount plate right there, right where I need to drill the hole to get at the fuel pump. So I'm going to be swinging a fuel pump and dropping a gas tank that I just put gas in the freezing cold. But yeah, we're just about ready to get out of here. We've been doing it 2 hours, 57 minutes, and 57 seconds. So 3 hours is my mark. You get to a point where I just can't do it anymore, right? You know, I'm tired and cranky. So that was pretty cool. Did you guys light a fire or anything cool tonight? Mike does all the stuff. They race their trucks and stuff. I can't tell you where because, you know, nobody can know. But yeah, they have a blast. He's always doing something. So hopefully we'll get that time. Mike's going to want me to sell it. So I got some money here for you, Mikey. Nothing special. Oh, just hit the bars tonight? Yeah, I got some money here for you. I told you. So right now I'm back to customer service. And then I'll try and get back to doing... I got some projects lined up, though. Got some good projects. Somebody says... always have a good night, Arch, everyone in chat. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to call it, fellas. Because I'm pretty tired. 3 hour... To the pit of misery! Yeah, you missed the pit of misery. That was fun. That was definitely fun. I think I'll hit this one in here and get out of here. Mike says, my motorcycle better be one of the... Yes, it is. Yep. Actually, the mini bike is first. So I got the carburetor in for the mini bike engine. That came in a little while ago. I got a different one this time. I didn't like the one that I had, so I asked HIPAA to give me a different one. So that's sitting over there. They actually asked me about that. I'm just about to release like 2 videos with HIPAA carburetors that I've had for a couple of months now, and I just finished those machines. So those videos are done, and they'll be coming out soon. So those are 2 or 3 HIPAA carburetor videos, and then yours is coming up. So we got to do the motor for that with the HIPAA carburetor on it, get that motor on the chassis, and then I can fool around with it and play around with it. Motorcycle is going to be more fun than a mini bike. Oh, definitely will. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but that needs a lot more work. For sure. But we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, I'm going to sign off. Mike, I will talk to you soon. I'll probably see you soon, too. All right, fellas. Enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm out of here.